Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by
Mark.
Sheen Washable.
Nope.
Yes.
Solzy.
J-Mart.
And then Red Baron is at the controls today. He doesn't have a microphone because we are joined here today. We're actually doing our first remote from Cliffside Brewing here in Wallingford, and we're joined by Dave and Samantha.
Hi, thanks for having us, or
Hey,
thanks
guys.
for being here.
So, yeah, this is exciting. It's our first remote broadcast.
Getting out there.
Yeah, we'll keep the craft beer thing going. This is about as craft as it gets, so we're really excited. So we'll kind of do our normal intro and we'll delve in. Our starting lineup today, of course, is Cliffside beers. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be going lightest to darkest. So our first beer is going to be the New England IPA, followed by the Maybach Ale and their dry stout. So it's going to be real exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't make the ch sound.
That's okay. We could
We'll do
edit it
on
in
three.
after.
We'll
Yeah.
do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ch. There we go.
Actually, I'd suggest doing the New England IPA last
Last, okay.
because that's going to be the hoppiest and it's going to overpower the other two.
All right. Well,
If
you're
yeah.
the master. You're going to tell us what to do. So our toast of excellence is to, I know this one's a real favorite for Machine Washable and J-Mart, and I don't think Kyle likes him either.
He's all right.
Lonzo Ball, the
Gross.
youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double at the age of 20 years old and 15 days.
Whatever.
I think it was like, it wasn't even that impressive of a triple-double, but I
No.
think it was like 6 days.
Nonetheless, a
before.
triple-double.
20 years,
Well, it was
20
five,
days.
5 days younger than LeBron, so yay.
So what?
Yeah. So Kendall's going to hop on the mic. He's got to do his shot. So Kendall, why don't you go? Red Baron, sorry. Why don't you go ahead and do your punishment shot for the shot trivia?
It's a healthy pour.
Yeah, we do what we can. And then he'll have his trivia for us. Now,
A little shaky there, Kendall.
I just go 2.5 hours later.
obviously, Dave and Samantha, you won't be on the show next week to do the disgusting shot, but you're more than welcome to take a guess.
Ooh, okay.
And if you're
You'd
wrong,
like to?
just pick one of us.
Yeah.
We'll do
There
it
you
for
go.
you.
If you're one of you is the most wrong, you can assign one of us to do it.
or
So-
we get to come next week.
Or you can come next
Okay.
week and do a double
Cool.
shot. We'll do double shots.
All right.
You don't want the private stock.
Okay. So over the weekend, we watched football, obviously. That's what we do. And we saw a Redskins player. His name escapes me. I should have looked that up beforehand. We saw the one-handed catch. And I think better than Odell Beckham.
Maurice Harris.
Thank you, Souls. And it made me think, all right, let's see how many touchdowns Odell has at this point. So how many touchdowns do you think he has to this point in his career?
I'm going to go with 44.
29.
I'm going to say 18.
42.
42?
42 is a good number, but I'm going to go with 69.
There you go.
He knows the thing.
I'm going to say 34.
Wow, the correct answer is 38.
Wow.
Is that me?
That was
That's
you.
the closest.
Thank
Winner.
you. Thank you.
I think I was the most wrong. I think I was. I said in the teens.
Yeah.
18, I think.
Oh, well,
69.
It might be up.
69.
You guys are both doing
Let's
it.
go. Disgusting shots. Private stock. More fun stuff.
It's horrible.
So, so Cliffside Brewing.
Yeah.
We're here. We're excited. It's opened up in Wallingford, right on Center Street, so it's very local. How you guys doing so far? Excited?
Doing great. Can barely keep the beer on tap.
Yeah, doing really well.
That's never a bad thing, then.
Yeah.
Were you the first brewery in Wallingford? I know there's 2, right?
Well, there's another one. What's the name of that? Front Porch.
Front porch.
They've been here, I think, for about 2 years, but they haven't had their license. So they haven't been able to officially open their doors.
Oh, okay.
They've been working on it for a long time. They did just open up 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yep.
So you guys
So-
are officially the first brewery in Wallingford.
Licensed
We
brewer.
are, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Just snuck right in there.
Yep.
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 Well, we were just, I think I
I
was
bet we
with-
pissed them off when we got our license before they did.
Yeah,
You
right?
probably motivated him. It's a healthy competition now.
I think I was with Machine Washable. We were just driving up Center Street one day. I think we were actually, as embarrassing as it is, I think we were playing Pokemon.
Probably.
And we were just driving by, and we just saw the engraving or the in the window, and we were like, wait a minute, that wasn't there 2 days ago. And so here we are. We'll kind of talk about the background of you guys. So what what intrigued you to get into brewing? I know you said earlier 6 years, right? You've been brewing.
6 years, yep.
So what motivated you to start brewing
Well,
beer?
Actually, there's a little bit of a story there. It's a short story, but there is a story. So we had apple trees in our yard, and every year all these hundreds and hundreds of apples would just fall on the ground and go to waste, and I'd have to pick them all up and haul them off. And one year I thought, there must be something I can do with these apples. So I made hard cider. And it was a real pain in the butt. Put it all through a food processor and got about a gallon of apple juice out of it. Fermented
Hundreds
it.
of apples.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
when we say apples, like
Oh, I bet.
apples. So
And all
this
for
was a
one
process.
for one
yeah.
gallon.
Well, I mean, I processed maybe 50 apples, and that made 1 gallon. And by that point, I'm like, that's enough.
On to the
and-
next thing.
But it was pretty good. The cider was pretty good. So I thought, what else can I turn into alcohol?
Yep.
And so I tried brewing.
Nice.
Rest is
So
history.
You started off real small, right? In your garage? Is that where you're
Yep.
doing it?
Well, actually, I started off in the kitchen we have a gas stove, and I had a turkey, one of those pots that you
Yeah.
deep fry a turkey
yeah.
in.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first boil kettle.
Nice.
And,
Started real small then.
yeah, it was a 7-gallon kettle.
And now you got your own facility.
Well,
It's the
it's still
definition
small,
of a
but-
homegrown brewery.
It's something. So how did Smith? How did you become part of the Cliffside family then? I mean, I know your daughter, right?
Yes. So, brewer Dave is my father. So
we're not going to mention how she became part of the family.
It's 30 years ago.
Huh.
No. So, I've kind of been there all along, tasting all the beers, seeing what works, what doesn't. My friends have all been super excited about this process because as the batches got larger, he was able to make some kegs for parties. And, I have a holiday party every year, and he would make his red ale for us, which was great.
It's a good
And
little resource to have.
Yeah.
it's amazing. I mean, hey, I can go down the street to my parents' house, and they've got their kegerator, and bring my growler over.
There you go.
But yeah, a lot of my friends were kind of pushing to see more beer, and people were just really liking what he was making, and it was kind of the logical next step. So it's really exciting to be here. I have friends who come almost every day that we're open, so they have to pay now, but they still come.
So you guys have 3 beers on tap. The 3 we're gonna try in a little bit, and then you guys do some like partner brewing type of deal, other local brewers.
Yep, got guest beers. So
Guest
we
beers,
have
right.
8 taps, so we try to keep them all full
Right.
with
It's
ours or somebody else's.
it's a cool concept. I mean, not a lot of these bigger facilities don't do that type of thing.
Because they can make enough that they don't need it. So,
Right.
you know,
But it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Especially to compare and contrast beers type of deal. But so are you guys looking in the, near future, far future to add more of your own beers to those taps?
oh, absolutely. As I was telling you guys earlier, right now I make about 1 barrel a week, which is 2 kegs.
Mhm.
So in the short term, I'm going to be doubling that to 2 barrels a week. And then shortly after that, I'll double it again to 4 barrels a week. And at that point, we should easily be able to fill all these taps.
Which is exciting. Because I mean that's that's not that far.
No,
Right?
no.
It's not that far. It's
yeah.
not something you're not looking at it as 2 years from now.
No.
You're
It's
looking,
like
weeks,
within
months.
3 or 4 months, probably.
That's real exciting.
Yeah, that's great.
Especially for, the craft beer market is growing really fast, and
It's become a culture pretty much.
yeah, it really is. I mean, it's craft beer and craft bourbon. It's kind of the way it's going. So it's really exciting. So let's talk about the beers. That's the fun stuff. So which beer do you want us to taste first?
I would suggest the Maybach.
All
It's the lightest colored, and
And the most delicious.
So needless to say, your favorite then.
My favorite. Well, of these 3, it's my favorite.
Okay. So this is the Maybach, and we're just looking at it. It's we got 7.9%, so healthy percentage.
Yep.
Which is exciting. You said light in color, not that malty.
it's
Less malty.
it's a little sweeter than
Right.
some beers, less malty. It's light on the hops.
So, I mean, I don't know if this, from what I've seen in other craft breweries, this isn't traditionally like a popular beer to brew. Right. I feel like I see more people brew like 4 or 5 IPAs, like one
Right.
stout,
Yeah.
one porter, maybe like a Hefeweizen or something like that. So what made you decide to go this route?
Actually, have you ever heard of Dead Guy Ale?
Yeah.
That's a Maybach. So I used to like that a lot. So that turned me on to Maybachs in general. And so I just came up with my own recipe to not simulate it, but, it's in the same style.
This is very good.
Yeah, very
Very good.
smooth.
Thank you.
Big fan.
This one sneaks up on you.
I was going to say, it
goes
doesn't
down,
feel like 7.
goes down very light and smooth, and
Yeah.
I hit pint number 2 and like, whoa.
That's when you call it cab.
Yeah, right? That's one of the ones where like you don't realize until you stand up to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just like grasping onto the wall just to stand up. You're just like, okay. So, you said that you brewed. You mentioned red ale. That was one of your favorite. Is that your favorite of all time that he's brewed?
He will have to tell you about my favorite, because my favorite is probably what we have called the sweet ale,
Oh,
which was maybe a happy accident, happy mistake, something kind of new. My dad could probably tell you a little bit more about that, though.
Yeah, let's hear about it. That's very intriguing. Never heard anything called a sweet ale. So.
No.
We
I-
ran out of it in a single weekend.
yes. Well, that was my first attempt at making the Maybach on the new equipment. And in fact, that might have been either my very first or second batch on the new equipment. And so there were some settings and whatnot that I hadn't really figured out yet, temperature settings and how everything was going to react during the process. And so it turned out a lot sweeter than I had expected.
It was delicious.
But it was a hit.
And we ran out of it. We had our grand opening and it was gone.
Wow.
When I first tasted it, I was like, this is sickeningly sweet. I came very close to dumping the entire batch. And
So
then my
good,
daughter
though.
and wife tried it and they liked it and they convinced me to put it on tap, and it was gone in a weekend.
People buy beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really it. They buy it.
And I
Sweet ale.
think there was kind of that intriguing aspect
Yeah,
where they
sweet
were
ale.
like,
Who's
what
gonna-
is
Yeah,
this?
what the hell is that?
Is this something that are you going to be able to brew it again, or is
That's a
it?
good question.
That's the question.
So we just got to go get different equipment.
I took good notes, so if I can just replicate what I did wrong the first time,
Yeah.
then
What he did
maybe I
right.
can do it wrong again.
You could have it listed as
So
sweet
right.
ale with a question mark.
Yeah.
Just experimental brew.
Yeah.
No, that's how a lot of things kind of go. I feel like in the both beer and liquor industries, and a lot of them are just accidents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is when they can't replicate it. So I'm hoping you guys can replicate it. I'd like to try it.
Yeah.
And then so you want to do the stout next, right?
Yes, I
So that
would
we're-
do the stout next.
Do the IPA last. So this one, I'm a big fan of the dark beers. That's no secret on the show.
Okay.
Usually when we do our starting lineups, everyone has something different from a different brewery. Mine is usually something in the 22-ounce variety and very dark and heavy. So I'm very excited about this.
Well, I would call this dark, but I wouldn't call it heavy.
Right. It doesn't look heavy. It's weird. It's funny. You can after drinking so many of them, like dark beers, it looks the same to like my girlfriend. She'll look at a beer and she'll just be like, it doesn't look any different. Like Guinness doesn't look any different to her than like Goose Island's Bourbon County or KBS or something. But like I know the difference just looking at it. So yeah, tell us about this one.
Well, it's just a dry stout. Not much to say about it. It's 4.5% alcohol. It's kind of light, easy to drink.
Yeah.
Low on hops. Little malty.
I'm a fan.
This one's great because we get a lot of women who come in with their husbands and they say, I'm not a beer person. I don't like beer. And they especially want to stay away from the dark colored beers. And I always convince them, like, give this one a try. I'm generally not a big stout person or, dark beer person myself. And people like it. It goes down a lot easier than they expect.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice break from like where everyone's going because it's not really like there's no coffee really to it or anything like that. And that's kind of the dark beer trend has been very heavy on the coffee and like usually some weird flavor.
It's a very simple recipe.
Yeah, I like it. Like you said, it's very light. Like it's definitely not like a lot of dark beers are like 1, 2, maybe 3 because sometimes they're like higher percent, but it's light, low percent. I like this.
Typically, I don't drink stouts because I don't like coffee. But it's
Because you're a wimp.
No, I don't like coffee. But that's light where I could drink that and be okay with it.
You're a wimp.
Now, what do you think of it, Kyle? Because you're
I'm the same as Mock.
You don't like coffee either.
Coffee is terrible. All right. This is pretty good for. I don't know names.
It's a stout.
Basically, Kyle's saying that this is good for being,
Kyle's not really. We've gotten him
Articulate?
into. We've gotten him into some more craft beers, but he's kind of like the juicy IPA kind of thing. That's his thing. So like he really likes like the two juicies.
Just wait, Kyle.
And like he's had like the
It's
sip
coming.
of sunshine and stuff like that. But for the most part, he kind of is just like a Milwaukee's best kind of guy. He just.
I'm not gonna say it.
But no, this is very good. And then the IPA. Is this your best selling beer that you've put out so far? Or what's your best selling beer you've had out so far? I mean, I know the
Sweet Ale and the Apricot.
The apricot ale
which is
Really?
you've
was
got
gone
that
in 2
fermenting,
hours
right?
of
Wow.
opening.
Well,
I mean,
this
we
is
literally had
actually-
people come in the same day saying, "Oh, my friend said they had this beer," and it was gone.
Wow.
Oh.
Good for you.
And you have the apricot fermenting currently, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
one in a winter ale.
Winter
right?
Ale. Yep.
So those would be exciting to have on tap soon. So let's delve into the IPA. I'm excited. I usually stop drinking IPAs around October because once the first dark beers start coming out, I get very excited. But I like it because it's very thick looking.
Nice and cloudy.
Yeah.
It's a New England style IPA. So it's got some oatmeal in it for body.
Mm.
It's very low on the bitterness hops, but then a ton of flavoring and aromatic hops, dry hopped.
Yeah. When I tasted it, like the minute it hit my palate, it kind of like, to me, it tasted like a cross of No Filter from Hooker and Captain's Daughter from Grayson. Which, like, I mean, I know it's not a double IPA, but it's like that kind of like a lot of flavor and like the bitterness from the hops, but not overkill on anything.
Well,
Yeah.
it actually is a double IPA. It's
Oh, is it double?
Say it's
like
like
8%.
All right.
Yeah. So
Keep drinking it then.
yeah,
I definitely do like how it's not completely hopped out. It's a nice balance.
you see that a lot with the IPAs where
Yeah.
people try and go like way too hop heavy,
No hop crazy.
and it's hard to drink them. And they're smooth.
We get like these,
Pound.
yeah, it's like the Imperial IPAs, and then some people even do like the triple IPAs,
Yeah.
and it's just it's too boozy.
Like
It's just like drinking grain alcohol that someone poured a little bit of IPA into.
It's like the Dogfish 120.
If you don't let it age for like 8 years.
Yeah, but even still, they're like 15%.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy.
They're rough.
So, I mean, these are really good. You guys
Thank
did a
you.
good job.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, what do you have in the future for beers? I know you said the apricot in the winter, but do you have any recipes that aren't a secret or anything? You have any beers that you're looking to make after these?
After the winter ale and the apricot, I'm just going to cycle around back to some that we've done already, like the brown and the red, and
Yeah, the brown was actually your first.
Yeah.
That was before the sweet ale.
for the sweet ale.
Brown
Okay.
is kind of just a big favorite among everyone, but the red is also really
so
good.
You guys have been open for how long now?
1 month, 5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, we opened on October 7th.
So you've been open for about 5 weeks, and it seems like you've already had like over a half dozen beers on tap,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, especially
Things are
for
moving.
you said you're only brewing about 2 kegs a week,
Right.
so that's a lot of different beer. I mean, you go to a lot of bigger breweries, tap rooms, and they just have their everyday stuff on tap. I mean, it's a large variety, but it doesn't change.
Well, that's the nice thing about doing small batches that you can experiment a lot more, because if you have a miss, if it's horrible, it doesn't sell, it's not that big a deal. You dump it and you move on.
Right.
I haven't had to dump one yet. I almost did, but I haven't.
Thank goodness
Yeah, I
we
was gonna
didn't.
say it worked out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have an extra set of like taste buds on hand then,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I'm glad I
especially
didn't
someone
dump
who likes
it.
beer.
Always willing to be a taste tester.
I'll say if you're hiring for that,
Yeah, that's a full-time job I'm willing to apply for. So, we kind of briefly talked about it before we recorded and everything, but so do you guys have plans to kind of outsource your beer, go to different breweries that do, beer sharing type of deal, or growler fills, canning, anything like that?
So right now, like I said, we're only doing 1 keg a week,
Mhm.
one barrel a week, which is 2 kegs. But short-term plans is to increase that up to 4 kegs a week, or 4 barrels a week, which is 8 kegs. So at that point, we'll be able to do growler. Right now, we can't do growlers
Right.
because we just don't have the capacity.
Well, I mean, you get something like you said, the sweet ale that's as popular as it is.
Right.
It's gone just in flights and pints. Before
Exactly.
You can
Oh
even
yeah, I mean,
fill
in a matter of
65.
hours,
Yeah.
that was Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Made me a little sad. We had some people coming in later, like,
So I'm
it
hoping
was
within
sad to tell them no.
2-3 months we'll have the capacity to start doing growlers, and once we get to 4 barrels a week, we may be able to do a little bit of distribution, just local stuff.
Yeah. That's exciting. I mean, it's one of those things, Stubborn Beauty in Middletown is kind of one of those types of deals, very small, not a lot of beers on tap. I mean, they just, I think in the past 6 months, started canning Stubborn, Nummy Nummy.
Yeah.
And that's the only one that gets distributed out.
And it's blowing up.
Yeah. And that doesn't seem like it could be something that's too far out for you guys.
Yeah, and if we find a good recipe too, we can always outsource it to somebody like Stony Creek.
Yeah, somebody
to
with the
brew
facility.
for us.
Yeah, somebody with the facility to do
Right,
it.
right.
Which is really exciting. I mean, it's exciting to see. I mean, you get a lot of breweries that come up and, we talked about all the different beers you guys have been making. It's exciting because I've really only heard you mention one IPA out of all of these. You don't seem like the brewery that's, hey, here's a New England IPA, here's a West Coast IPA, here's, a dry hop double IPA. It's like you're actually like exploring all the spectrums of beer.
Truthfully, I've got a wife and 2 daughters, so they're not big IPA fans. So to keep them happy, I got used to.
I would just like
doing
to
a good
say,
mix.
I think people are experiencing IPA fatigue. All right. We get people who come in here and they're like, it is so nice to come into a brewery that is not just 8 IPAs.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's definitely
Yeah,
true.
well, I mean, we've talked about on the show. I work at a liquor store, a fairly large one, and we get the craft beers and we get the limited stuff. The Captain's Daughter, the No Filter, Headway, and they're selling less and less. Sip of Sunshine's the only one that still flies, and that's only because it's the limitedness of it. But all the other ones, they sit and we have a limited beer cooler, and we get the same amount of cases, and they just last a little longer every time. And like you said, the thing with the IPAs, I feel it burns your palate out real easy, especially the companies that go high on the hops.
Yeah.
So it's a refreshing, like I said, it's refreshing to come into a place and have 3 different styles of beer, especially the stout. Big fan.
Plus the IPAs right now, that's the craze, the hazy, citrus IPA. So, it's nice you have one for the people that like it, but like you said, you have other things. It's nice. You don't see it in a lot of breweries now.
Yeah, sorry. So, a big thing too with the holidays coming up. I know you guys don't do growlers and whatnot yet, and that's probably not going to happen before Thanksgiving or Christmas come around. But for future sakes, or people, you guys are in a very prime location for people to get food and bring it down to your brewery. There's,
Absolutely.
Wallingford's definitely not short on restaurants, that's for sure. Have you experimented with what beers pair well with like what foods? I know that's like a big thing people have kind of been doing with like, how wine has done it forever. This is, Pinot Noir for Thanksgiving, but people have been doing it more with beers. Have you guys experimented?
That's true. I mean, but my problem is that I like beer. So, you give me a
That's
beer
all our problem.
and something to eat, and I'm happy. I don't have
really,
to
honestly,
pair it.
food just slows down the drinking. That's all it really does.
We've
have
actually
food when
been
you can have
talking
beer?
to some local businesses about doing some pairing nights. So there's a great cupcake company down the street, and we would love to set up a beer and cupcake pairing because we think that's a little different, and we think it would be a lot of fun. So we're definitely open to it.
Light on the calories, real light,
Super
like it.
light. It's very
Beer's health
carb
food.
light.
So, you offset the health food of the beer with the cupcake.
Well, beer's just made from stuff that grows in the ground, so it's like a salad anyway.
It's a sandwich
is
in a
a
bottle.
salad.
Well
That's what I
said.
said.
Well
It's
said.
liquid bread.
Yep,
No one accepts it when I say that.
I do.
The doctor doesn't accept it?
No.
Kendall does. He's nodding.
I've always accepted it.
So the winter ale, I know you said the apricot. Is this your first experiment with the winter ale?
It is, yes.
So
First
this
time
is-
I've made it.
So you haven't even tasted it yet. You have no idea.
I tasted it, and
So far, so good?
so far so good.
Yeah?
I mean, I tasted it before it had finished fermenting, so that's always a little iffy.
Little sketch.
Yeah.
Can you give us some notes on it? What's
Well,
its portfolio
it's
looking like thus
it's
far?
actually very similar to the dry stout.
Okay.
The base is not exactly the dry stout, but it's similar. And then we've got on top of that the spices of the winter ales, which includes cinnamon, nutmeg, and something else, allspice. plus a fourth secret ingredient. No, oak chips and another secret ingredient. Secret.
It's
Yeah.
love.
It's love.
Sorry, I had to tell them.
Secrets out.
Even if that's a secret, you can't just use that. I mean, there's certain amounts of love that you just.
It's very limited.
So you guys were talking earlier too about trivia night,
Yes.
that's something everybody has kind of been doing. That's like a big thing. So you guys, did you just have your first trivia night, or is it something you've been doing for a little while?
We did. We just had our very first trivia night this past Friday. It's something that we're going to be doing regularly, the second Friday of each month. And it went great. We had a full house and had some great prizes, and I think everyone had a lot of fun.
So is it all trivia? Is it beer trivia? I mean, some places do.
It's a mix. So I make the trivia myself and run it to everyone's complete joy. So we do 4 different rounds, and each round is a different category, which range from sports to history to literature to pop culture, and then we do a photo round in between, and that is always beer related. So this past Friday, for our first trivia night, we did Name That Brewery, and it was a picture of each brewery's logo, and it was all Connecticut breweries. So it was a point to name the brewery and a point to name the town in which it was located. Everyone did relatively well. We had one team get them all completely correct.
Wow.
So
Cheaters.
yeah,
That's
it was impressive. They were also the fastest. So
that's the person, that's like the husband who has like a family,
It
like
was.
a wife and 4 kids,
And they were there.
and there's no milk or cheese in the fridge. It's just 18 growlers full of beer.
they were there. He had
Kinda
his
sounds like
wife
my
and 2
fridge.
children with him, including an infant, which was great. We were very kid friendly here, so they played some games and had some popcorn while Dad kicked butt in the beer trivia.
Well, that's a fun thing that you guys have too. I noticed you have
Yeah,
the
I'll have
shelf
to
of
bring
games going.
cold down
I've
here.
seen that in bars, like the Hop Knot does that in Middletown. That's like kind of one of their big like coined things. But you don't really see it in breweries.
Mhm.
And this is kind of a more laid back. It's not as hectic as a 2 Roads or a Stony Creek type of thing.
2 Roads is mayhem when you get in there.
Yeah, you get in and you have to fight for your life to get a beer. But
Well,
here it's more, it's like, I mean, and you guys are busy. It's not like you guys don't experience the foot traffic, especially on Center Street here. For anybody who's been to Wallingford, we're all from here, but this is a very high foot traffic street, and especially right next to the gazebo with in the
Especially
center
this time of the
town,
year,
so-
they have the bar crawl coming up. for
Right.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Are you guys a part of that?
Well, normally,
the bar crawl, will
bar
that be?
crawl?
So that is the day before Thanksgiving, which I believe is the second most popular drinking night of the
Oh,
year
yeah.
after New Year's.
Don't drive that night.
No.
Do not
Nope.
drive.
Well,
Luckily, we have a lot
That's
of
why I'm
water.
glad I
home.
live like 30 feet.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Everybody's home. It doesn't matter what. It's bars, breweries, liquor stores. It's Thanksgiving Eve is absolutely insane,
Mhm.
and it's just
Well, everyone comes home, and what else?
Everybody
are you gonna
comes
do when you go
home.
home?
You
And
gotta
what-
see your
What
family.
do you- the only way to deal with that much family is to drink.
A lot.
And, yeah, it's absurd. We just had a woman come in preparing for her family. She's got she's gonna have 27 family members coming from out of state
Ooh,
to stay with her
she had a
from
lot of alcohol.
from Wednesday until Sunday. And she already in her house she has 6 kids that are all in college.
They're not all staying with her.
She
are
needs
they?
whiskey, not beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Just
Cancel
move up.
Thanksgiving.
she bought close to $6,000 worth of
Oh,
wine,
my God.
liquor, and beer.
God.
Wow.
And I mean, and
Not
she
Wish
didn't-
I had that
Well, the
budget.
best part
Yeah.
was she didn't skimp on anything. I think the cheapest bottle of wine she bought was $17.
She's in Wallingford?
No, this was in Middletown. She
Oh,
lives. She lives
okay.
in she lives in
Where's
Weathersfield.
this party?
Kyle, she might be single.
Probably not.
With 6 kids. I don't know if that's worth being single for.
Step up, Kyle. You got
But
this.
it's like I said, it's just bars, breweries. It's insane. So will you guys? I'm sorry I interrupted, but will you guys be a part of that? The bar crawl.
So there is a pub crawl that happens down Center Street every year, and we definitely looked into joining. However, there is Holiday Stroll happens in Wallingford on December 1st, which
Yep.
is like a week and a half afterwards. And the problem again is with how much we actually have in stock. So we
Well-
just don't know that we would have enough for both. So it's
Part of
gonna-
that problem is that I was out of the country for 10 days. So I missed 3 brew weekends.
Right.
So we're like almost out now, and then we got these 2 big events coming up that we're just unfortunately not prepared for.
Right. Well, I mean, you said you've only been open 5 weeks.
Right.
I mean, it's not.
And we pushed that 5 weeks because I found out about the Wallingford Festival like at the last minute, and then I decided I'm going to push my opening date because I wasn't going to open for like 3 or 4 more weeks. So I pushed it up just to hit that festival.
Yeah.
And that wiped us out completely. We closed.
Worked out for you.
We were closed, not the next weekend, but the weekend after.
Yep, we have just been kind of playing catch up ever since.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then I was out of town.
It's
didn't brew. So
It sounds like a good problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, like it just.
well for us, not for
Right,
our
exactly.
customers.
well, I hope everyone doesn't start getting tired of us being out of beer and stop coming. You know.
Well, and, that's part of the part of the thing. We're plugging you guys so people listen. They know
Yeah.
that more beer's coming in the future.
And we're going to expand, so this will be less of a problem in the future.
Which is always exciting. So you guys, I had a question in my head and I completely forgot it.
Oh, come on.
It's there
Come on.
somewhere. It's there somewhere. I don't remember what it is though. You have a question?
So actually, back to the first question,
Perfect.
I don't think we answered it. I think we're not going to be open the day before Thanksgiving,
Right.
so we're saving our beer for the
stroll.
the
For
stroll.
the holiday stroll, which will be during our regular hours. So we will just maintain
So
what
that
our
works.
hours are right now. We're just open on Fridays and Saturdays.
So all you alcoholics can just go buy whiskey, or there's actually a distillery in Wallingford,
Yeah.
right? So they can go hit that place.
Well, Wallingford's like when I first met our producer here, Red Baron. Sorry, I'm just calling you Kendall again. The Red Baron. I hadn't actually heard of Wallingford. I'm from Middletown originally, and which is not that far away.
You
but
hadn't heard of Wallingford?
No,
and
I've
you
just
live in
never.
Middletown?
I've never ventured this
That's
way of the
impressive.
state. I lived in Middletown, and all my family lives
It's like
in.
one town over, right?
They all live in
It's
Enfield.
like to say I live in Wallingford and I'm in Middletown quite often. So,
I lived in Middletown. All
you
my
know.
family lives in Enfield, so I never really ventured this way.
Okay.
And so I think the only time I ever ventured this way was to go to Sonic for the first time, and I didn't even realize what town I was in. But he's telling me about it. He's like, it's the biggest town you've never heard of. That's how he coined it.
That's pretty
But
much
I mean,
accurate.
it's like
Now we have 2 breweries, so
yeah. See, now you've got
We're
2
on the map
breweries,
now.
You've got a distillery. There's 3 wineries.
yep.
cider.
The cider place.
Yep.
Yep. And you guys are. I don't know who here has heard of it, but there's this place called Ripe. They make bar mixes. That was in Wallingford. They just moved to New Haven to a bigger facility, but there's a lot of stuff
know
going
that.
on.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Is that the organic?
Yeah,
mixes?
all
Yes, I
organic
have
bar
heard
mixes
that.
are it's like $10 for one bottle of bar mix. But actually, Jim,
I
you've
thought it was
had
a
it.
juice
It's that
company.
sour mix that I had in the
Yep.
fridge. Yeah, at Maple. That was that stuff. So it's good stuff. But like you said, it's on the rise. My question popped back into my head. I have 2 of them. So the first one, I know you guys said, right now you're not brewing a whole lot, but you plan to get that way. But have any local bars or anything? Has anybody kind of reached out to you guys wanting to know about having beers on tap and whatnot? Because
Several people have.
Absolutely.
that's exciting.
Guys
good.
from Knuckleheads came over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else was it?
the
Christos?
restaurant down
The pizza
Oh,
place.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
they are ready. They said to put them on our list once we're
Yep.
ready. We've had a lot of people
That's awesome.
asking.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It's great to have people asking you. That's good.
Makes marketing easy, right?
As I said, craft beer. It's the wonderful thing about the beer industry versus like wine and liquor, from what I've experienced in the working in the industry, is that beer is more of like a family operation. I mean, obviously you compete, you want to sell your beer to somebody before they buy somebody else's beer, but it seems like craft beer is kind of more family oriented, like a lot of promotion for other like breweries and whatnot. Like when we have 2 roads in our store, they don't shy away from helping somebody if they're like to try their beers. But if somebody is looking for a beer and like they know they don't have something like that, they're not afraid to recommend another local
Oh,
brewery.
absolutely. We've had so much support from other local breweries. I was almost surprised just because being new to this. We had people from Kinsman stop by, Alvarium stop by. They brought us some of their beers.
Allagash guys. showed up.
Allagash came by.
yep.
'Cause, we have one of theirs on tap.
Well, the nice thing
So-
about is about having all these breweries in one area is that people will go on a bar crawl or a brewery crawl,
Right.
and they'll hit all of them at the same time. So you're not really competing with these other breweries You're
It's
all
like a
you're all
community.
working together. 'Cause
Absolutely.
The
I
bigger
mean,
that you can
yeah.
make the community, then the more people from outside your community come in to visit, which is better for everyone.
A couple years ago, I was planning my brother's stag before he got married, and we were doing all the breweries in Brantford. We were getting raffle gifts and whatnot, and we were about to leave Thimble Island, and we saw like Duvig was close. We weren't gonna go, and the bartender at Thimble Island was like, "You need to go there now. Like
Yeah.
if you're leaving here, go." And I couldn't believe it. It is like you said, it's like a community.
Yep.
You know, you're competing, but you're working together.
I mean, front porch that just opened in Wallingford 2 weeks ago. The day before their grand opening, reached out to us and emailed us and said, "Hey, is it okay if we shout you out, on social media and with our announcement about our grand opening?" And we were like, "Yeah." So they were like, "Hey, come check us out, and if you're in town, stop by and see Cliffside. They just opened too, and it's been really great. We have yet to meet them, and they." Literally, we're already sending people our way, and we do the same because their hours are later than ours. So when we close, we say, "Hey, head over to Front Porch if you want to keep the party going."
I like the we talked about like the hecticness of some of the bigger breweries in Connecticut. I like the atmosphere of your guys' place because it almost feels like you're in a bar versus a brewery, but like not hectic, crazy, but it's just laid back. It's nice to sit back and have a couple pints. It's comfortable seating. I don't like to knock breweries, especially being a craft beer show that we do, but I can't stand going to Two Roads to sit on those stools.
It's horrible.
They're so uncomfortable. If you guys haven't been there, it's just those
We've
wood
been
stools.
there.
It's really cool how they
Got
make
the
the
padding
tables.
for you here.
Well,
Yeah,
most breweries
relax.
they are zoned for light industrial, so they have to be in a manufacturing or industrial area. We kind of got it. I'm not going to call it a variance because that's not the right zoning term. I already got slapped for that at the zoning board meeting. But the town of Wallingford did an exception for Center Street because they're trying to revitalize Center Street area.
Yeah.
And they told me that if I concentrated on the tap room rather than the brewery, and they limited specifically the size of the brewery compared to the tap room. The tap room had to be 2/3 of the area, and the brewery had to be 1/3. So they wanted something that was more public facing than an actual just a raw brewery. So that's kind of and that's kind of what I had in mind anyway.
Yeah.
To start with, so it fit perfectly, and so they gave me the exception to build a brewery right on Center Street.
Well, I mean, when we got here, you asked us if we wanted the tour, and you prefaced it with that it would last 15 seconds.
Right.
And but from the location you guys have, I mean, it's not really, it's not built to be a mass brew area. It's meant to kind of be what it is, and it's working.
Yeah.
I noticed, you guys are open Fridays and Saturdays. What are the hours? 5 to 9? Is that what it says?
5 to 9 on Friday and noon to 9 on Saturday.
Do you guys have plans of expanding those hours as the beer quantities go up?
If the beer quantities go up, and I
Absolutely.
can find someone to manage the tap room, as I'm pointing to my daughter.
Well, we still both work our day jobs
Right.
full time. So, if he's ready to hire me, I'm ready to run the tap room.
If you're ready to work without any benefits,
You don't need those.
Hold on.
You have beer.
you don't,
Hold on.
you don't need health
as
insurance,
soon
do
as I
you?
marry Rich, we'll be
Pints
ready
of
to go.
beer sounds like a pretty good benefit to me. I mean, that's
Always
like
have
it's
a
like
it
a
is.
pint a
It is health
day.
food. So
that's like mental health, right?
Yes.
That's really what
Well,
it is.
you said it's like a salad.
Right,
basically.
exactly. It
I
grows in
mean,
the ground,
it's
so it's a
hops,
salad. I don't
plants.
see why it wouldn't be that way. So, where did the name Cliffside come from? I don't really notice a lot of cliffs in Wallingford. So
You would be wrong.
well, there is actually at least one cliff. You probably know where Powder Ridge Ski Resort is. We live on the other side of that mountain, which is Cliffside Drive.
Okay.
So we live at the bottom of the cliff of Powder Ridge on Cliffside Drive. And it's not easy to come up with a clever name for a brewery that's not already taken as either a brewery or a beer.
We came up with so many very clever
We
names.
had a list of
and
probably
they are all
200
trademarked and
names.
taken.
Yeah,
Anytime
I mean-
But
you do
here's
a
our,
Google
cliff.
search on a clever
Yeah, that's a
name,
cliff.
See? So
and
that's the view
fake.
from his house.
or something very close.
The Red Baron and I, we were talking the other night. Any name for a band, brewery, beer, it's already taken
Yeah.
if you think of it.
Yeah.
It's already
Oh, yeah.
gone. You know,
At least with a
Absolutely.
band, it doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't have to be about beer. It doesn't have to be about music. It can be the pet rocks,
Yeah.
whatever.
And people.
But
people
with a
will love
brewery,
Their last album was great.
it. But I mean, it's not. It's it's simple. It's very easy to remember. It's nothing hectic, and like
It's
I
got a
mean,
nice flow to it.
Well, I mean, and it makes sense too. Like as the brewery gets bigger and the product grows, it's where it started. Like you said, you started
It
out of a
is
turkey
the homegrown
pot in your
brewery.
kitchen
on Cliffside
on
Drive.
Cliffside Drive.
That's where it was born.
It's been a great way to meet our neighbors who live further down the street, because they come and they're like, we heard of this
They-
brewery
they
that
wanna-
has
they
the
wanna
same
buy
name as our
glasses.
street, and they want a T-shirt, and
Oh, yeah.
we're like,
They
oh,
want
well,
a
we
glass
live
that
there.
says Cliffside on it because they live on Cliffside.
Is the logo is it a representation of the cliff?
No.
No, just a nice cliff.
Our cliff is not very conducive to logo. So our graphic artist she came up with her own.
Beefed up the cliff a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
add a little bit more ridge to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And actually, if you squint and look at the logo, you can see
There's a
a
beer
frosty beer mug
Mhm.
right in the center
right in
of
the
it.
middle.
oh yeah, it's kind of harder to see on that one. Look at that one,
Yeah.
the window. Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Very
It's,
clever.
yeah, it's like subliminal messaging. You're looking at it like you're like, oh, let's look at breweries
It's a nice
around here.
mountain.
It's like,
I want a beer.
oh, wait a minute, Frosty Mountain. So, we talked about all the different beers that you guys make and everything. Is there one beer that you have tried to make that hasn't worked, or something you're really excited to try to make sometime soon? A style or a specific recipe twist on a style?
Well, knock on wood, I've not had to dump a batch yet.
Right. Which
My
is
very first brew. The thing is, I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of videos. I did a lot of research before I even started.
He's an engineer. He's very
yeah.
analytical.
That's true. So-
Everything is very.
which has got to be tough for something like brewing, because really it's trial by error.
Not really.
No,
Not
Is it?
really.
Can you really
I
find
take
it,
really good
science it
notes,
down?
and if you follow the steps, you end up with good beer. I mean, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants that have figured out the process and how to do it and do it properly, and I'm just replicating what they've been doing all along.
And just adding your own little twist to it,
Yeah,
your own Cliffside
yeah.
twist. So is it just you two that currently work at the tap room?
Oh, we have two other bartenders, Henry and
Krisha.
Krisha,
Mhm.
and they're great.
Are they family or just
Nope.
Just-
They've become family.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
they
it
have.
kind of works that way.
Yeah.
This is how this started. Just a group of degenerates
Yep.
become family one day. But it's it's definitely fun. It's exciting that you guys are experiencing the volume that you have in terms of traffic. And I mean, did you picture it turning out this way? Did you picture opening up your doors and running out of beer right away? And
Of course.
Perfect. Well, then,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
I thought
She's shaking her head.
I was expecting lines going down the street, down Center Street.
We were very scared. We were very nervous.
It's a scary thing.
For my dad to do this, though,
Well-
I'm impressed. I think it's very brave and very cool to actually do something you're really passionate about, and it sets a great example for my sister and me. Like, he's actually doing what he loves. I mean, what else would you rather be doing?
That's what people ask us all the time. Like, do you get paid for this? Is this your daytime job type thing? And it's the same type of thing. It's we have our day jobs.
Yep.
We do this because we love it, and if something becomes of it one day, that'd be fantastic. It'd be a great thing to story
Yeah.
to tell the kids, share with people. But it's doing what you love, which is
Exactly. And I'm just hoping that he creates a beer dynasty, and one day it will all be mine.
Nice inheritance.
Do you have plans of this being your day job one day soon?
Is my boss listening to this? I'm going to say no.
My job is already worried. They're like, you're going to leave and you're just going to run the brewery. I'm like,
I hear that
"No,
constantly.
I would never want
How long
to
am
do
I?
that."
How long till I quit? I mean,
Can I drink at this job? No.
Strike
one.
Can I walk in and pour a pint? No. Do I get to have trivia while I'm working? No.
You're out.
Yeah, it's just all for different things. So, we talked about the pumpkin beer and all this stuff, the seasonals. I know the winter ale is a seasonal type of beer. Do you have other seasonals in the works or anything, or for the springtime when it comes around?
Like wheat beers. I've made wheat beers that are pretty good, and some Hefeweizens and things like that I haven't made here yet. They'll be coming up.
Will you make a pumpkin beer next fall? I'm hoping you say no.
He's going to say no.
Good.
I don't know.
I don't understand the craze for pumpkin beer. You and
I
I
don't,
were talking about
I don't
it
either.
beforehand.
We have the Two Roads Rosemary's Baby on tap, and I'm not a big fan of the pumpkins. I can drink like 1 pint a year.
I just don't get it. It's like you wouldn't drink pumpkin juice. Like you're not in Harry Potter.
I know.
This isn't it's not a thing. It's for pies.
Some people wish they were in Harry Potter.
But then also,
yeah, but I don't want it for pumpkin juice.
but also the sweet
don't
ale
wanna pick
I
things
wouldn't
up.
have made for myself either. In fact, I didn't drink much of it. But everyone else liked it.
If
so
there's a demand for it,
Yeah.
Then you make it.
Yeah, but not for pumpkin beer. That's the one you got to put your foot down on. Just
well, he
actually-
does have
actually,
standards.
the one
he won't
that
let
I-
me do the cinnamon sugar rim because he
Good.
says that's not
actually,
appropriate.
I will put my foot down on sour beers. Sorry, no sours here.
we were talking about it before you popped up, J. Martin.
They're not good.
They're not a big fan of sour beers here
No,
either.
no.
It's a small family of people who love them.
It's like
People who
that
really
like
enjoy
mushrooms.
Tums and mushrooms, things like that.
Although I tell you, something really funny is to watch Kyle drink a sour.
True.
Oh,
Makes a lot of funny faces.
He can't do bitter very well.
We've got a
and-
great picture of my youngest daughter drinking her first sour beer, and the face that
Oh,
she
it's
made.
terrible.
Yeah.
I think the reason I like sour is I enjoy bitter, but with sour beers I've just found like ingredients, like there's weird ingredients that they add into them.
Bacteria.
You put like
Fungus. Literally.
No, it's literally bacteria.
Yeah,
That's
but-
what makes it sour.
That's a good one.
There's like the guys. Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah.
There's like the geyser goes from Two Roads. It's kelp and sea salt, and it's like you wouldn't normally I don't want a stout with that in it, but it works in a sour. I don't know. It's weird.
Does it?
It does.
It doesn't.
Does it?
It does.
You're not supposed to eat kelp.
Yeah,
you
no.
Talking about pumpkins, you're not supposed to eat kelp.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I
All right, that's fair.
Oh, well, never mind.
I guess there's we said I can't argue the pumpkin thing. It's different
I
for
mean,
everybody.
if you don't
but
want pumpkin juice, why do I want kelp juice?
Exactly.
well, I don't want
Good
kelp
point.
juice. I don't want that.
I
Just
mean-
bring it out.
I don't want kelp juice. I just want a leaf of kelp to garnish my beer. No, I'm just kidding. But there's some weird. Have you ever experimented with some really weird stuff? I mean, there's some weird beers out there. That's there's a brewery. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they're literally brewing a beer with Big Macs.
Oh,
I don't know, but like
We
foolproof.
had one with like
it's
an
probably
oyster or
roast.
something.
That's
or
what I was
clam.
talking. Foolproof brewery.
But why would he brew that when he could brew this?
I think a lot of that stuff is just gimmicks.
It's
It
exactly
is,
what
but-
it is. Yep.
Sometimes people just
Bacon beer. People
Yep,
do that.
it-
I've seen that.
The
Pizza.
worst one I've seen was from Rogue, the beard beer, where they took the yeast out of the guy's beard.
Oh,
Horrible.
God. Oh, we've heard worse.
We've
Really?
heard worse.
Than
Have
beard.
you?
Yeah.
My least favorite.
Where
was
else
the-
does yeast come
I've
from?
heard that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds
Bacteria?
awful.
Yeah.
Well, the worst I've ever had, I don't think I would really put my lips on a glass that's got some of that in it, but the worst I've ever had was, and J. Martin, the Red Baron have experienced it too, it's from Foolproof. It's a beer brewed with oysters and barnacles from the bottom of ships.
Ooh.
And when you
No.
taste it,
That's what it tastes like.
I like exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
I like oysters, but as a food.
No.
When you drinking the beer, it literally tasted like licking the bottom of a ship.
Well,
And
that's
that's
what
not
you were doing.
appealing?
Yeah, if you want that
That's-
beer for
that's
free,
literally
just
what you were
drink
doing.
some
Like it?
salt
Yeah.
water.
No, I bought one single of it from the store because it was just like I need to see how terrible this really is. Like it just sounded so atrocious.
That's
and it was
probably how
chocolate.
they sell it all.
It was
you know?
chocolate oyster.
I was
Beer.
thinking about taking my old sneakers and soaking the soles from my sneakers in the beer.
Doing one of those, like, was it holes, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how they make that stuff with the shoes? That's how they're. Foot sweat beer.
Why not?
Quarter mile
beer.
porter.
Batch 50.
I bet nobody's done that yet.
No, you guys could.
It's
be
actually
setting-
fermenting in back right now. If you want a sample,
The sneakers are not the beer. Just the sneakers are
just the
fermenting.
sneakers. It's a sneaker juice.
Well, it's refreshing to hear you guys don't think you need gimmicks
No.
to sell the beer, which is exciting.
No,
I
no
don't-
gimmicks.
I don't think we've ever had a train horn on the air. Did we pick that
Kendall's
up?
pretty excited.
Well, back at Maple, we were pretty close. So we picked up a lot of that. So
But yes, I mean, it's exciting. Like you guys said, high foot traffic area. You guys are experiencing a lot of sales, foot traffic coming in the door. He's running out of beer, which is, like I said, it's a good problem to have. I mean,
Very good.
one day soon, you said you'll be there where you don't have that problem. But it's good that people like it. And you have, like I said, I don't think you haven't really had. I haven't seen any on like Beer Advocate type things, people talking, and Facebook groups centralized around CT beer drinkers. I haven't heard anybody say, this beer was okay, or this wasn't my thing. Everybody said good things.
Yeah, I saw good stuff on Untapped too.
Well, there was one bad comment. Last week.
Yeah.
There'll always be one.
The two guys came in and tried the New England IPA, and they said, "This is not an IPA. This is a stout."
You've got to be kidding me.
They were very insistent, and I finally just had to let it go.
Were they from Wallingford?
I finally had to let it go. And if
We
you're
tracked
listening,
them
I
down.
wasn't
sorry,
here
but
at the
that's
time,
not
so
what
I
it
couldn't
is.
straighten them out.
I did a pretty good job explaining it to them.
Yeah.
And poor
Give us
Krisha
like a
was just trying
police
not to
sketch
laugh
and
at them.
Well, yeah, let's do a police sketch.
We'll do our
real quick.
rounds.
Kyle, you're a good drawer, right?
No.
You always see those people in bars though that try and talk about craft beers that don't know what they're talking
While
about.
they're holding up a
Yeah.
Bud Light.
Try working in a liquor store. It's the worst. You get people coming in. Yeah, so I want an IPA, but I don't want it to really have any fruit. I don't want it to be too hoppy.
And it
Not
shouldn't
too
be
hoppy.
hoppy. Yeah, right.
You people that come in. I'm looking for a really good craft beer. I want a stout that's not too heavy, not too dark, and is under 3%. So
would be
There's
Budweiser.
Poland
yeah,
Springs
like,
over
You
there.
want water with some malt in it? I don't know what you want. Like it's ridiculous. But
Well, my dad actually considered getting Budweiser on tap.
It's both regular Bud and Bud Light, and because one's a red handle and one's a blue tap handle, and hopefully they're not going to show up here. But I'm going to take the red handle and weld it to the hot water tap, and then the blue handle and weld it to the cold water tap.
Good idea.
That's great. I'm all for that.
that's a great way to do that.
We'll have it available.
This is what you'll do. Once you get to the point where you're brewing enough beer and you start giving it to people, just trade bars the tap handles for it. just make your own tap handle. I mean, you made the bar. You said
I made these tap handles.
yeah. I mean, Samantha was saying you made you laid the floor down, you built the bars, you built everything in here. So just make some really cool Cliffside tap handles and just go, hey, I'll trade you this. Get the hot water handles. There you go.
Yeah.
What an interesting concept to do. I would have never thought of doing that in like a brewery. You should put it as like the
My
flusher
problem,
in the
they'll
bathroom.
show up and they'll sue me for slander
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like
You get a
that.
Coors Light handle and use it as the toilet. Just flush it. Get one of the pole flushes. That would be awesome.
Did you see
I'm
our
sure.
used beer sign?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot of funny signs going on in that bathroom. You should check it out.
I haven't been in there yet.
Good signs in there.
There's a lot of good signs outside of the bar. I'm a big fan of any sign. I noticed at the two over there, how to cheers and like all the different languages to cheers,
Yep.
and then like how to know what a beer is. I'm a big fan of those
That-
signs.
That's where we got our Wi-Fi password. It was one of the how to say cheers in what was
African Zulu
it? Zulu. Yes.
is Ugiwawa.
Nice.
That's how you say cheers,
Start
and that is
doing
our
that.
Wi-Fi password. So
Kyle liked that one.
we like to say it's people, and they get confused.
Kyle, why don't you say that for us real quick?
Nah, he's not. He embarrasses himself enough. Well, I mean, we're about time to wrap up. But thank you for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming by.
Yeah, of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Oh, we'll be back.
We'd love to do.
Cool.
We'd love to do something
Always
again.
welcome.
Especially come by. We'll do another show when you guys get more beers on tap too, type of thing. Really expand the portfolio, and let the listeners experience how things have gone. Do you guys have social media?
We do. We are on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us at Cliffside Brewing. We also have our website, which is cliffsidebrewing.com. So you can find us there, and we're on Yelp. We're on Untapped. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Make sure to check out our Facebook page. We'll have their social media info posted there as well. So when you're listening to the show, you can just click away. Why don't you tell them where they can find us?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Getting Sports with Drunk. Twitter is GSWD_4.
Make sure to use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily uses, whether it's finding new local breweries or drinking sneaker beer.
And you can find us on Podbean and iTunes every morning from 7 to 8 a.m. on the Lieb Sports Network and every Sunday from 12 to 1 on the PPRN Radio Network.
Mark, I'm really impressed that you don't even have this written down. I don't think you've ever
he's
had it
got
written
this
down.
down.
I've said it so many times.
I think you just say it to yourself before you go to bed.
He
at night.
wakes up just reciting.
Well, Dave and Samantha, it was a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Like I said, we'll be back soon as customers, not as podcast hosts. And until next time, Oh, hold on. We got whispering going on.
No, we're good. We're good.
Stop whispering.
Continue.
Don't do that. That's distracting. Until next time, I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler.
I'm Mock.
Sheen Washable.
Nope.
I'm Sosa.
I'm J Mart.
I'm the Red Baron.
And we'll see you next time. I'm the hostess, Cupcake the Riddler.
I'm Mock.
Sheen Washable.
Nope.
I'm the Red Baron.
I'm J Mart.
And I'm the man of many names. And
We're getting sports with drunk. Be sure to find us on Facebook and Instagram at Getting Sports with Drunk. Twitter is GSWD_4. Be sure to subscribe on Podbean and iTunes. And find us on the PPRN radio network every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m.
Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by
Mock.
Sheen Washable.
Nope.
And the Red Baron.
Meow. That was really short. I didn't like that. We're currently without J Mart and the man of many names, but what's more exciting than having them on the air is that we are recording from Black Hog Brewing in Oxford, Connecticut. We're here with Tyler.
Hey, how you guys doing?
He is the what was it, Lord of Liquid,
Lord of the Liquid,
which is his official title. Official
on
title.
the website and everything.
Which that's awesome.
I think we should give him the golf clap for
Lord of Liquid.
Excellent.
So we're here with Tyler. We're at Black Hog. We're at Black Hog Brewing in Oxford, Connecticut. So this is exciting. I think this is everybody here's first time actually to the brewery, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Never been.
It's exciting because we've actually featured some of we do our starting lineups, which you've been nice enough to pour us some.
Yeah.
But some of the Black Hog beers have made their way into the starting lineups over the past shows. So, without further ado, do you care to tell us our starting lineup?
Yeah, so the starting lineup today, I got two from the core. Started off with the Easy Rider. My New Hampshire accent comes out in naming that one. But it's a little 5.5% ABV IPA, just a touch of rye malt, a lot of 07270, a lot of Eureka hops in there, kind of slight garlic, but big, like, kind of citrus juice going on in there in the finish, and lower ABV, so you can have a couple not fall off your stool. My glass here, I got the Granola Brown, gold medal winning 2016 World Beer Cup brown ale. Has both malted and flaked oats, get you some really nice mouthfeel without any cloying sweetness in the finish, allowing me to play with a bunch of other malts, giving you some chocolate, some raisin notes in there. But again, with that nice clean finish, it's not cloyingly sweet on the finish. Poured a little of the Hogwater IPA for the IPA fans over here. It's kind of our lean towards the New England style IPA, the Citra Mosaic Calypso blend in there, 7%, big juicy, a lot of hop aromatics in it, a lot of hop flavor in there, really great beer. And then one of our special for where it's right around the holidays right now, so we release this year we did a 2017 Bourbon Barrel Age Peach Milk Stout, which is taking our coffee milk stout, pre-coffee, because we do the coffee into the bright tank, put it into bourbon barrel, and about 100 pounds of peaches went into that barrel as well.
Wow.
Let it all kind of ferment out and age together, and it just adds a little holiday cheer to your life.
I'm very excited.
Riddler's very happy. That big smile.
I'm very excited. So,
Grinning over there.
Yeah, so toast to excellence to Tyler and Black Hog Brewing for having us. Thank you, and cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's funny listening to Tyler talk about the beers. That's everything that we want our beer review to be, and we're just so bad.
We're like, yeah, this is good.
Like hitting all the notes. Like I try to do that, and I just sound like an idiot all the time.
Someone picks out the beers every week, and it's like sometimes we get like crap beers. Sometimes they're really good.
Steel Reserve last week.
Yeah.
And what can you say about Steel Reserve has notes of can.
Horrible.
No, I mean, it's like I went to school for this stuff, so that's kind of like it's beer. Beer is more than just opening that can and drinking it. I mean, there's a science, there's an art behind it, and then there's things we try to do as a brewer to get certain flavors out of it within the brewing process or even the fermentation process or the aging process. Every beer has many layers of flavor, and you can get them in a lot of different ways along the process of making that beer too. So
you said you went to school for this. Whereabouts do you go to school for brewing beer?
There's a lot of them in the country now. I went to school in 2006. I graduated University of New Hampshire chemical engineering. Then I went out to UC Davis and did the Master Brewer Certificate out there. So one of the better ones at the time. But it was just kind of a intensive 7-month program, like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, kind of classroom, laboratory, and kind of learning everything there is to do about the biochemistry and the engineering behind making beer. But yeah, that doesn't. I mean, but my first job started out as a keg washer. You always start at the bottom. Doesn't matter.
It.
You always got to work your way up and earn your stripes. But yeah, came back east and been brewing professionally since 2007 now.
Well, so this is not something you stumbled into. You wanted to do this.
Oh yeah. I stumbled into my homebrew kit in college, so that's kind of where I found a homebrew kit in the back corner of the closet. Living in a 6-bedroom house with 7 guys, and one of my roommates' older brothers got a homebrew kit for Christmas. Never used it. Gave it to him. He never used it, and I just found it and made a batch of beer, and then bought my second extract kit, and it was the same amount of money I was spending on a shitty 30 rack. So I was like, same amount of money for 30 crappy beers. I make 50 good beers. Hey, let's just keep doing this. And then cheap college. You gotta do what you gotta do. Then I just kind of fell in love with the recipe formulation and flavors, and then just blossomed from there.
That's awesome.
We should buy the rights to his story and make a movie. I like that.
Cool. But who would you want to play you in the movie? If we were to make a movie about your...
Well, we need someone to
one.
grow his beard. I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's an independent film, we have a friend, Shane, that similar hair color.
Yeah, I gotta find my doppelganger out there. Yeah.
We'll have to make it like a side-by-side. You guys can vote on it.
So how long have you been working at Black Hog?
I'm one of the co-founders since the beginning. Black Hog's opened in 2014, so...
It's wild. I couldn't believe that because I did some research before it came in, and I thought it was so much longer before that. I feel like I've been drinking the beer longer than that.
No, I mean, it's just something where, we hit the ground running hard. I mean, we took over an existing brewing space. The space was Calvary Brewing Company. They started in 2010. And then I walked into a 15-barrel brew house with 4 30-barrel fermenters and a 30-barrel bright. So I just kept them full and kept cranking. So, yeah, we've been pushing hard since the beginning, and we've expanded since then. And
I say it's paid off because you said this is new space for you, right? Bigger space.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't come into the brewery since August, we took over. We doubled our square footage. Brand new tasting room we're sitting in right now with wood everywhere, and new taps and new little cubbies to sit in and stuff like that. So it's just a much homier space to be in and enjoy a beer. And we're able to stay open longer because the old tasting room, literally where the canning line is set up now, is where the tasting room was. So if we were canning, the tasting room wasn't open. But now we're able to keep production going and have the tasting room open at the same time, which is awesome.
It looks great in here.
Yeah, we'll have awesome. our chief editor over there, Rita. She's here. She'll have her post pictures. But this is probably the best idea I've ever seen in a tap room. Is you guys have a storage system with seating underneath it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was one of those during the build out of the tasting room. My business partner Jason was like, "Well, I need it all the way to the pole for the tasting room space." He's like, "But I still need storage." So we kind of met in the middle, and we clamped some 2x4s to the outside of the pallet rack here, and then just started screwed a bunch of pallet wood to it, and made them nice little cozy caves.
Yeah.
Our artist Max Toth, who does all of our artwork for the cans and all that, saw the space, and then he came in and did our outlines of Disco Pig heads running down in each bay. Alternating colors where there's an Easy Rider, there's the swag color, there's a granola brown color, and then there's the Ginger Ninja pink in each individual bay. So he kind of put his little artistic touch on it, which kind of adds some really cool character to it as well.
You should call these spaces, this is a term we came up with a long time ago. It's called a hog hut. And it's more appropriate here than anywhere.
A hog hut?
Hog hut,
So
yeah.
what happens in a hog hut? That's the question.
I don't really know. We think that's where the pigs live. But we don't know.
We were driving to Pittsburgh, and we saw all these they looked like dog houses, but we only saw pigs.
Yeah.
So
Call them hog huts. Yeah.
All right.
That's all. It's just one of those things. It just got said and it stuck.
I think it's a shout out to J-Mar. He can't be here today, but I think he's the one who coined that.
The hog hut. That's good.
I could see it written right there. Hog hut.
Yeah.
Pretty innovative. You looking for a job?
Yeah, my resume's in the car, actually.
All it says on it is graduated.
Graduated.
Totally graduated.
Without honors. So you mentioned before that 2 of the beers here, the granola brown, and the Easy Rider part of the core. So what exactly is the core for the Black Hog line?
So Black Hawk lineup is Easy Rider, again, that low ABV IPA, and then Ginger Ninja, which is has that beautiful pink can you see on the shelf with the ginger holding the pink, big flowing red hair, and it's a red IPA with some fresh ginger added to it. It's actually my wedding beer. I married a redhead and made that first batch for her when I was the assistant brewer at Portsmouth Brewery up in New Hampshire. And it was the only beer I brought with me from Portsmouth Brewery to Black Hog, and the recipe's tweaked since then. But it's one of the beers that holds close place in my heart.
It changed my opinion because I don't like ginger things, and I tried it because it's been noted on here before. I work at a liquor store, a lot of free samples, but I tried it and changed my opinion on the ginger thing. I haven't really found another one I liked, but I like that one.
No, that's something where that's years and years of tweaking recipe and getting the ginger just right. Having that little bit of red malt in the background actually helps kind of that, if you have the ginger beer that you mix with dark rum to make a dark and stormy, if you drink that by itself, it's so sharp and you get that burning ginger in the back of your throat. I didn't want that. I wanted the ginger to come off as almost like a hop component, like a little herbal hop component, but still you could taste the ginger, but you didn't have that burn. And it's finding that the right ginger connection for one, so you have consistent ginger coming in, but then using the right amount at the right time to get that consistent ginger flavor going on.
Mission accomplished.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
And one of the other, I mentioned the granola brown earlier, but yeah, it's just a beautiful brown ale. My father-in-law was one of the investors here, and when I was working up in New Hampshire, I'd always come to visit. They weren't the in-laws at that point; we were just dating. But I'd always bring him a case of the Old Brown Dog because I was working at Portsmouth Brewery, Smutty Nose, so I had access to Old Brown Dog, and it was his favorite beer. So I made sure to make you a brown ale. But I took kind of an idea of how I used to make the Old Brown Dog, but then I made a couple of beers at Portsmouth Brewery when I was a head brewer that I used oats and made a pale ale out of them and kind of combined a bunch of different characteristics of all those different beers together to make this, getting that body from the oats. And again, so it's not super cloying and just really flavorful, but drinking clean where you can actually drink it year round. There's no a lot of times you try to drink a brown ale in the summer, it's just too thick and too syrupy, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to drink it year round, and I think I accomplished it with the granola brown. One of the other cores is our coffee milk stout. I mentioned the peach variant that you're drinking now, but that's another one. We do a lactose-based milk stout, and then do an in-house cold water extraction from Jim's Organic Coffee. We use a mixture of their Wunderbrew, which is kind of a medium roast, kind of South American, and then we use 2/3 that and 1/3 of their espresso. So just a little bit of that sharp coffee note, but I didn't want to. A lot of coffee beers use all espresso or all dark roast to get a big coffee flavor, and using it the whole point of the milk stout is to be soft and subtle and beautiful mouthfeel. I didn't want to add too much acridness from the coffee, so again, not using just straight espresso beans and then doing the cold water extraction where you don't get any oils, you don't get any acridness off the beans, you just get the pure coffee essence. Really gets that. It's a beautiful breakfast beer.
That's it. A lot of people are starting to do the milk stout route. I know locally as well, Thimble Island started doing a coffee milk stout, but for the longest time in the liquor store, the go-to recommendation for the longest time was Left Hand's milk stout. But I've always found that milk stouts, even if they are good, they're either too thin, thinner than Guinness almost, or they're too, like you said, way too sharp on the coffee notes.
Yeah.
So it's a good balance.
Yeah, and that's something. It's hard for me to be the extreme brewer, and I don't like extreme flavors. I'm doing some extreme beers for extreme EBF, the Extreme Beer Fest out in Boston and stuff like that. But my day in day out drinking beers, what I put out on the shelf on a daily basis, I want them to be in balance. I want them to be food beer. I want them to be you can drink them by themselves and really enjoy them, or have a meal with them and it changes how the meal tastes, and then the meal changes how the beer tastes, and it's just kind of give you that whole experience while you're drinking it.
Kind of like the wine. Type of mentality to it.
And beers lower ABV, and a large everyone talks about food and wine pairings or cheese and wine pairings and all this, but a large component of wine is the alcohol. Mm-hmm. On the low end you're at 12%, and then you got some huge cabs at 16. So there's alcohol is a big component of a wine, palate of the flavor of a wine. With beer you're talking 5.5%. You're talking upwards 7%. It's not that, so you get a lot more room to play with flavors,
right.
Get a lot more chance to play and pair with foods and stuff like that. So it's that's why I really I am a little biased, but I think beer pairs with food much better than wine does.
Yeah.
I agree because wine's gross.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy making a glass of wine from time to time, but But yeah, and then you mentioned just one more core. We're actually just introducing, coming up very shortly. It's finishing up fermentation right now. It'll be released kind of the beginning of the year here. We're introducing the hog lager. So we're going to be doing a year-round lager.
Such a good name.
Yeah. So it's all Haltal Blanc hops, and then all Pilsner malt, all Haltal Blanc. Like, it's very simple, but like subtle, but beautiful all at the same time. Just kind of have that craft lager in the mix as well.
Yeah, that's exciting.
A lot of good stuff.
Hog lager.
Hog
I'm a big
lager.
fan. It's
I
amazing
want
what
that
you can
tattooed.
do. Hog lager.
Right on the forearm.
We're in his ass. So you have the other beers, the Hog Water, the Swag, and the Piglet.
Yep.
Deliciously dank.
Delicious.
All three of those have made appearances on the show. We've been a big fan of the deliciously dank. That's been a big fan. But so, is that going to be? Is that like a seasonal thing that we're going towards, or is it? Because I've noticed that the liquor store world, we've carried both. We've been getting a lot of Piglet in lately. Big fan of that. But is it a seasonal line? Is it just like a?
No, those are our I guess our only true IPAs. If you think about it, we got a low ABV IPA and a ginger red IPA. So like the Hog Waters and the Piglets are our true to style IPAs. And I mean we brew them in rotation. God honest truth, they're just super expensive to make.
Yeah.
For one thing, just because of the amount of hops we put in them. And
Well, I mean, isn't the phrase on the Hog Water the hop lover's dream?
yeah, hot lovers wet dream.
Wet dream. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's just
pretty
intense.
hoppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the hops we use are like the hard to get, expensive per pound ones and stuff like that. So I mean, the beer itself is really expensive to make, but it makes the beer better. And we're not, so it's I don't want to have it on year round all the time because of the fact that it's an IPA. It should be drank fresh. You should be able to go through it. And I don't want someone's experience to like buy something on the shelf that's been on the shelf for 4 months to be like, oh, this beer isn't good. Like, I want to limit the amount that's going out, so make sure that it goes out small amounts, like enough where like every liquor store can get a case or two, and then they sell off their shelves, and then someone enjoys it. And it's just kind of make sure that I keep it spaced out. And for Connecticut itself, I'm actually trying to alternate between the two of Piglet and Hog Water, so they're not competing on the shelves either. So it's kind of like it's more of a I used to say beer is 50% science, 50% art, and now I'm learning there's another 50% of business that I'm kind of picking up on of being the owner of a brewery. But that business side of like, you got to keep it fresh on the shelves. How do you do that? By like brewing in a certain way and like only releasing. And it's not like we're not making it. It's we're just not releasing. We're making it and then releasing it to certain markets at certain times of the year to make sure that, because I know that like Connecticut will get like Hog Water in January. I mean, I don't have the release schedule in front of me right now, so don't hold me to this. But like, they get Hog Water in January, then like February's off to make sure it's all off the shelf, and then March they'll get Piglet, and then there's every month of the month we'll kind of alternate between the two is kind of my goal.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, just kind of like keep it kind of fresh on the shelves.
It almost guarantees that no customer is going to walk away with bad beer or old beer. Not bad, but
and that's
old.
something where it's like, I mean, I was a head brewer up at Portsmouth Brewery, a little 7-barrel brew pub, right downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire, sister brewery, somebody knows, and I would brew beer. I'd put it in a serving tank, and I would sit next to people at the bar drinking it, and that was as far as the beer went. Starting Black Hog, I got this whole new appreciation of the distribution of beer and how that all happens, and I've been slowly learning that over the 3.5 years we've been running and getting it to where we are now, where I'm trying to please them without screwing over the end customer. Because like, I mean, we have distributors that will just like, oh, we'll take 600 cases of Hog Water every month. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to give it to you because that means it's going to sit on the shelf. And then my end user, you guys buying it at a liquor store or someone, there'll be a random log that's in the back corner of their warehouse that it's the last one that gets sold that finally gets put on tap somewhere that's like 4 months old. And like, I don't want that. I want everyone to enjoy my beer for what they are and have them as fresh as possible, and especially on the IPA world. So it's just kind of it's purposely that they're not always available just because of, one, how much they cost, but two, I want to make sure that the end user's getting a really great experience while drinking it.
So I never understood why breweries did, certain releases, and that made a lot of sense. So I know it's like the end user, a lot of times you're like, which just was always here. Why isn't that's a good reason.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, chances are if you're really wanting it and wondering why isn't it here, there's 100 other people that go to that store every week that are thinking the same thing. So it's going somewhere, which is good. So it's kind of lucky. I mean, I haven't really had the ability to travel around the country long enough to stay in a place and see what the brewery scene is, but it feels like Connecticut's kind of like got to be towards the front runners of breweries. I mean, we're a small state, but we've got a lot, and a lot of them do distribution, a lot of them don't. But it kind of seems like a good area to be in terms of being a craft brew.
Yeah, I mean, when we started in 2014, I think we were the 15th or 16th brewery that opened up in Connecticut. Now there's 54 or something crazy, like 3.5 years later, which is great. I mean, because Connecticut was a wasteland for a long time. I mean, I remember coming down from New Hampshire, which was 1/3 the population and 4 times the breweries already. So there was just like this. There's the population here. There's people.
Well, it's so cold; they have to drink.
Yeah, for sure,
all the time.
But no, having that. But it was like Connecticut now is like definitely every corner of the state has their own local brewery they're supporting. And I mean, there's just and it's just really cool in that way where it's starting to grow. And yeah, the distribution is helpful because Connecticut's just as a distribution brewery, we do a large percentage of distribution. Connecticut's great because I mean we're New York's right there, Boston's right there. Like it's just we can get down to DC in 3 hours. It's just like it's a good like distribution hub to get to like Philadelphia, DC, New York City, Boston, all the big places. Yeah. Portland even. We're doing really well up in Portland, Maine right now too. So, but yeah, we're trying to spread our wings a little bit just because we have the infrastructure to make a lot of beer. But I also want, again, people drinking the beer in the tasting room to have the freshest beer possible. Right. So I make 30 barrels of it. I'm only going to sell, how many, like we'll say 10 kegs out of that 30 barrels. So I want that other just to go out the door so that when we run out of those 10 kegs to the tasting room, I got a fresh batch ready to put on the tasting room. So going to have that cyclical, keeping the beer for the people to come here as best and fresh as possible.
Well, I mean, it's got to feel good as owner and Lord of Liquid. I obviously I don't have the numbers with me, but working at a liquor store, there's some bigger breweries, there's some smaller breweries, especially in terms of square footage. You guys aren't the biggest,
for sure.
But I would think it would be fair to say you guys are second or third in terms of our total sales.
That's awesome.
And we're a huge liquor store. Like we have a lot. I work at Connecticut Beverage Mart in Middletown, and we're a huge store with a lot of craft beers. And in terms of local, not even local in terms of Connecticut, in New England, not counting Sam Adams, they don't count because they're not a microbrew anymore.
Well, they keep changing the law, so the rules. So officially, they still are craft beer.
Yeah.
Every year they make 10 million more barrels, and they raise the allotment 10 more barrels, so they can still. They're no longer. They're still not macro officially.
Yeah.
But
air quotes
everywhere.
But I mean, even for Connecticut, I mean, you just blow a lot of the companies out of the water that are bigger than you, which is it's gotta be nice.
Yeah, I mean it's been fun, and I mean it's. I mean, you mentioned Sam Adams and stuff, and other people, and like almost like in a competitive like mindset, and it's great that like I'm happy our beer is selling. I wish everyone's beer sold well too, because we're all friends in this. We're all fighting the macro lagers. We're all against Budweiser or Miller or Coors or because they're still like 70% of the market.
Yeah,
people are still drinking that, and it's just like there's still a lot of beer drinkers out there that haven't came to the craft world.
I'll say of all the beer drinkers in the world, I mean, more than the majority of them grew up when the craft beer world wasn't. I mean, not even that long ago. Like the number one craft beer in Connecticut was or not in Connecticut, but like around the world was Magic Hat, and now that's like not even a thing anymore. People nobody really buys Magic Hat, at least not where I work.
It's such a boom right now. Craft beer, it's exploded.
Yeah.
No, I think the big thing is that the Magic Hat was big because they were one of the original like crafts, and like people were getting into it and people were buying it. And everyone talks about like the slow food movement or the local food movement, and like local, and then all of a sudden that has bled into the craft beer world now, where like it's been drink what's local for a long time, and we're almost getting hyper local now, where people are like, there's so many breweries around me, like we have regulars that come in 3 days a week, come here and drink our beer.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the best beer, hands down across, and like they're drinking hyper local, so it's like it's almost where it's the marketing of like the larger like Magic Hats, they were out there, pint glasses with mustaches on them and everything, and like all the bars and everywhere. They're in freaking Idaho, who knows, they were all over the place, but like having to distribute beer across the country just is not necessary anymore, because everyone's drinking local, and the farther you get away from your home base, the less people want to buy your beer. So I mean, we're definitely trying to distribute throughout New England and cover New England pretty well and be as local as we can, and into a couple of the bigger cities, because there's there's a lot of expatriates of Connecticut that are living in DC, living in Philadelphia, and they have their my Connecticut brew I can finally have it. But it's like I'm never going to see Black Hog down in like Florida. Like I'm never going to distribute out to like Ohio. It just doesn't make sense because because there's too many good breweries in Florida now. There's too many good breweries in Ohio to like try to even compete with that. And you think about trying to distribute out there, like how long does it take for that distributor to come here, pick up a beer, drive it over there? You know, just like just adds a whole
logistics.
Yeah, the logistics. It adds age to the beer that doesn't have to be because you can sell it local. So.
Well, to me too, because I mean, like you said, like you never see Blackhawk distributing in Florida or Ohio or wherever, but it gets itself there anyway. Because like you said, people move, people leave, and like in the liquor store industry, people all the time that come home for the holidays and they stock up on 3-4 cases of different varieties of beer that they like from the Connecticut, and they bring them back with them. And then there's no way that those beers don't get tasted by people that are from Ohio or Texas or Indiana or wherever. And it just kind of words of mouth itself around anyway.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's.
Like a big one to think about. Is Treehouse. Treehouse doesn't even distribute. They're you wait in line all day and you get your beer, but it's nationally known how good that beer is. It's had to have gotten around, so it's just how it works.
There's a big like beer trading community that runs around like the tree houses and the.
I've never been big into the beer trading thing. It's just
as much as I like beer, I will not wait in line for 4 hours to get 12 beers.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like there's you go on these websites and you look at these beer trading things, like people who like the big ones that people know, like the King Julius or whatever from Treehouse. And people are like, "Oh, well, let's trade beers." And it's like, I'm not getting. It's not Pokemon. I'm not going and waiting in line to get beer so that I can trade you my Julius for your Charizard. Like, it's not what I want. I want.
Do you want to do that?
If you have a real Charizard, I'll get all the beer for you. But I don't. But I don't know. I've never been. A lot of people I know are into the beer trading world. Like, there's some like craft brew like bars and stuff like that do beer trading nights. And like there's a place in Middletown called Hop Knot. Oh, yeah. They had a small little thing that was open for a while called Disco Chick, a wing place, and they had a beer trading night. And it's like, if I go to a place that's and I'm bringing my beer to try, I don't want to pour samples for everybody. I don't want to trade tastings of my beer. I brought it because I like it, and it's something worse than like bringing if I brought this delicious beer, this peach milk stout, and I poured a sample and someone gave me something crappy and we're trying to be pissed. Start bringing 18 racks of Budweiser, those things.
Back to the Steel Reserve.
Yeah, right. So you mentioned before, it's funny because like in the liquor store world, like we almost view sales not like as a competition for the breweries, but as a competition for shelf space, really, because certain things sell, certain things don't. But you mentioned in the brewery world, it's more family based than it is competitive based. I mean, everybody wants their beer to be the best, but a lot of it is working together.
Oh,
like you said, whether it's against the macros or to promote beers. So we talked earlier. You said you're in a current collab situation. Can you talk about it?
Yeah. I just had Kent Falls and Kinsman Brewing Company actually come in yesterday. The kettle is actually souring right now. We did a SCOBY, which is a kombucha mixed yeast culture that we got from Counterculture Brewing or something. It's a new SCOBY company that's opened up in Danbury. But we got some. So basically, we're using that SCOBY culture, which has some acetobacter, it has some lactobacillus, and kind of some stuff you would know, like kind of giving like that tart, like vinegar, or like that acetic acid or the lactic acid kind of back note to the beer. And then I'll basically let that ferment out for 3 days. But then I'll basically boil it, kill all those bacteriums, kind of stop the souring characteristic, and then transfer that into the Disco Big fermenter. I'm going to start off with a Saison yeast, just the primary fermentation, and then halfway through fermentation, add in some Brett C or Brett Clausianus, which is a little bit of a cleaner Brett strain. It's not as funky farmhouse, comes off a little more tropical. But during the brewing process, going to add a little bit of ginger into it as well, and then some green tea. I kind of like lean towards the kombucha world of having that like ginger green tea kombucha kind of, but in beer form. So yeah, it's just kind of like an idea that got drunkenly talked about at one event, and that like turned into a bunch of emails that turned into who the hell can get some SCOBY for us, and then like finding the SCOBY and then making the brew day, and then just we all get together and hang out and drink a few beers and make the beer. So it's just fun to be able to do collab brews because it gets me, gets everyone out of their comfort zone a little bit. Gets other brewers that maybe haven't been to the place since we expanded and seen our new tanks and all that, and kind of get them in and see where we're at and see how to brew on a different system. And like, it's just being able to have those ideas and cross-pollinate some really cool things.
So that'll be brewed here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's brewed here.
Currently being brewed here.
Yep.
So now, because you're the bigger of the three, correct? And maybe in terms of
volume-wise, yeah.
And volume-wise, yeah. But like you said, it's interesting because you said it gets everybody out of their comfort zone. And you mentioned before, like the hyper local people I mean, you guys aren't necessarily all right next to each other type of thing.
Yeah.
But it'll get, it'll be on tap in everybody's room.
it's good. I
type
mean,
of
it's
thing.
where it's like, I mean, like the social media stuff, like you tag Ken Falls, you tag Kinsman, so you get like the people that are following them all of a sudden see your picture, and then
Absolutely.
then they're like, oh, what are these guys up to? And then maybe they on a weekend take the drive to Oxford and come check out the new tasting room and try some beers they haven't tried. It's kind of just it all helps everybody. And same for them. We're like our super regulars that are here 3 days a week are like, oh, they're collaborating with these guys. Like, let's go check out the new tasting room at Kinsman. Or like, I heard they just Ken Falls just opened up their tasting room. Like, maybe I'll make a trip to the northwest corner. Just kind of like get people the drinking community out of their comfort zone too. Like trying to look at different beers because I mean you try to collab with other breweries in your state or other breweries that you respect, and like it's just one of those things where you get even they all bring beers. I get to try beers I maybe wouldn't have tried before because they brought them along, and then gets our customers and their customers kind of cross interested in each other and just kind of helps everyone out.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
It's one of those things. People are always going to buy beer.
Yeah.
They're no matter. I mean,
What are you saying?
I can have $5 left, and there's a good chance it's going to beer. So, I mean, to just get out there, you're competing, but you're not. They're going to spend the money.
Yeah, and it's you said too because like it's an interesting like family twist because like you're finding out like a lot of microbreweries are willing to open their doors to other breweries and come in. You mentioned before you're having a barrel age fest, right? And tickets are sold out, so don't show up.
Please don't email me
unless you have a ticket. Unless you have a ticket, but. That's coming up in, you said, like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, the 20th, yep.
Yeah, and you're how many breweries are you having here?
This is our second year of it. Last year we had 12. We were trying to get like 14 or 15, but a lot of people, friends, and so I think we're up to 18 breweries pouring, including ourselves. So every brewery will be stationed up jockey boxes, then pouring 1 to 2 different barrel-aged beers. And then I'm going to dig through our stacks here and try to bring out some fun old stuff and try to fill our taps with as many barrel-aged beers as I can pull out for the festival. So really fun time. I mean, it's just a flat price. Proceeds going to Vi for the Kids. Which they research basically child cancer, which is like there's not a lot of money going towards child cancer prevention right now because everyone's looking at the older people because it's more prevalent as you get older. But if we can solve the child cancer, that kid can then now live a full life. So right. It's a cool program. Jason's been dealing with it from Casey's for many years, and we're glad to be part of it as well. But yeah, we're gonna have 18 breweries. We're gonna have a couple different vendors inside with like a guy who does barrel-aged maple syrup. So he'll have Belgian waffles and barrel-aged maple syrup. We have the Drunk Alpaca chicks here doing they do all of different like desserts and like snacks and stuff all made with beer. Got 2 different food trucks outside with Casey's cheese truck and then the Chief Brody's banh mi truck, which is the best sandwich in the world. Then we have Wix Forge, who does like our metal bottle openers that we sell in the tasting room. It's gonna be doing like a live like metalworking presentation, kind of set up outside with big heater going and sparks and craziness. So it's gonna be like it's something to do in the doldrums of winter and get warmed up by a couple fancy beers and eat some good food. So
this isn't even an event. This is a festival.
Yeah,
we should have got tickets. What were we doing?
Yeah, producer
missed the boat on that.
Way
one.
to go.
Ass. But that's awesome because it's yes, it's at your location and you have the ability to have more brews on tap and whatnot, and so people are noting that event with Black Hawk, but you're opening up the doors to however many breweries to come in and be a part of the Black Hawk family.
Oh, for sure.
That's awesome. I mean, that's in the business world, that's not usually how it is. It's much more cutthroat. Like we don't want to be associated with anybody that's similar to us, and it's not how it works in the beer industry.
No, that's like we were saying. Even when we were at Cliffside a few weeks ago, everyone's.
Have you been to Cliffside yet?
I haven't. They're literally right around the corner from my house. I got 2 kids at home and I work a lot, so it's like hard to get out. My wife's been there a couple times though, but they've actually had our coffee milk stout on tap.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. We that was our first like on-site brewery type of thing. We wanted to make sure we didn't start off with someone really big and then and blow it bad.
But they said like the same thing. Like other breweries went in there and we're like helping them set up and
they got emails and stuff and people and it wasn't
help.
just like hey like you put one of our beers on your tap type of thing. It was just like hey like we're great. It's exciting to see someone starting up and give us your business cards. We'll put them in our tap room and this that and the other thing. And it's exciting to know that the craft beer world is more helpful of each other than anything. Yeah,
friendly.
Well, it's nice too because I mean, people, it's more. I feel like it's more along the lines of like, hey, don't drink, the Thimble Island American Ale. Drink the Easy Rider. It's like, oh, if you like the Thimble Island American Ale, you'll probably like our, and it's just like if you like this, you'll like this. It's not don't drink theirs. Theirs is terrible. And that's nice because that's not how it is
Anywhere else
for anything in the world. Sunoco's gas is so much better than Mobile's.
It has a much better taste.
Dry clean.
Dry clean. I actually have a question real quick. I don't know if we touched on this already and I just missed it. The name Black Hog. The story behind that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
He raised pigs. Where were you?
Yes, I lived in New Hampshire as a pig farmer. No, I'm just kidding.
Hog huts.
Hog huts were everywhere. No, we, when we decided to open a brewery, email turned into a phone call, which turned into a business plan, and we're just trying to figure out what we want to call this place. We just started, spitting off, a bunch of different names, and, you Google anything, it's pretty much a brewery already. So it's just kind of
it's like the band theory.
The band phenomenon.
Kendall has the band theory. Any you come up with a band, any name you can think of,
it's already taken. Yeah, so it's the same idea. So we're trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and so we kind of just took a step back and just all stopped thinking about it for a while. And then Jason came back where he's has his master's in gastronomy and is a chef by trade and amazing cook. And when he has a party at his house or anywhere, whether it's his kid's third birthday party or his wife just got her master's, invite friends, family, neighbors, everybody shows up. And so it's a huge get together. Everyone has good beer. Everyone has some good food and a good time in general. But the best way to feed that many people, he does pig roast. Mm-hmm. So he has these open smoke, a beautiful smoker that he does whole hogs on. And
Mock's no stranger to the pig roast family
of
events.
Pig roasts are awesome. So, but the one of the best breeds is the Berkshire hog. It's jet black hair. Has great marbling within the meat. It's a heritage breed. It's just a perfect pig to do a whole pig roast tour.
Delicious.
But it's nicknamed the Black Hog. So it's just Black Hog Brewing is just friends, family, beer, food, kind of good times all wrapped up into one.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Invite everybody into your hog hut.
Yeah, everyone come to the hog hut.
We might have did something good here with the hog hut thing.
I hope so.
I like that we're saying it again.
Yeah, hog hut. So, obviously you have to like all these beers in order to put them out. You wouldn't brew something and then hate it and then be like, yeah, let's sell it in our tap room. But which one's your favorite? What's your favorite beer that you make?
Usually the one in my hand.
That's a T-shirt.
Yeah,
it's very
beer is very situational for me.
I mean, the Granola Brown's got to speak to you because you have all these beers at your disposal today, and that's what you poured yourself.
Well, it was, you wanted to make sure to have a quality, balanced starting lineup here, so I may have thought about that along the way. See, that's one of the thoughts that went through my head. I thought about the time of day. It's in the morning.
This is why we don't brew beer.
Yeah, it's in the morning. I just came off of coffee, so I think a brown will be perfect. That's what goes through my head every time I pour a beer. So now, it's kind of I go through time of day, time of year, if I'm eating with it, what was the last beer I had, kind of because beer is an experience through and through, in it. What's on your palate changes in the next beer's flavor and stuff so it's just kind of it's hard for me to. I mean, Easy Rider is I'll have an Easy Rider a day, just kind of just to have at lunch I'll have an Easy Rider, just kind of lower ABV, or at shift shift beer, stuff like that. But Easy Rider is just my go-to easy drinking. It's kind of reminiscent of what my desert island beer that I don't make would be the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, reminiscent of that kind of lower ABV, pininess, but a different twist on it, but I mean, it's just I love all of them, and it's just so situational. It's hard for me to pick out that one, but if I had to absolutely gun to my head pick out one, it'd be the Easy Rider.
So in terms of taste, it's complicated, and in terms of close to your heart, it's the Ginger Ninja.
Oh yeah, Ginger Ninja close to my heart for sure. And then the 50% of the 150% of business, I love the Granola Brown because we sell a bunch of it. So it's just
I see that beer everywhere.
Yeah, Granola Brown. Yeah, it's
everywhere.
It's our flagship and does really well for us. And it's brown. It's a brown ale. It's not one of the crazy over the top $200 a pound crazy IPA things. So it's just it's from a business world, it helps us out, and it's delicious. I mean, it goes with barbecue. It goes with just awesome, spicy food. That little bit of malt sweetness helps cut it a little bit. So it's just year-round drinker, and it's just a beautiful beer, and it's in itself that way too. So
It's nice because I like IPAs more than any other style, but every brewery now has 6 to 30,000 IPAs, and you guys are
To narrow it down.
Your staple beer is not an IPA, and that's nice to see other things happening.
Yeah, and that was honestly, a total surprise for me. I thought I'd make a 30-barrel batch a month or something just to have a brown ale on tap, because when we started, 2014, like it was Treehouse everything. It was just like everyone was searching IPA, more hops, more IBA, more ABV, so I was expecting something else to take off, but it was just like it just hit the ground running and didn't stop, and I was like, okay, I guess this, and that's. I honestly thought our flagship would have been Easy Rider, but it's Granola Brown as our flagship, Ginger Ninja is a close second, then followed by Easy Rider. So it's just crazy to see like what the market wanted at that time, and it was just, I'm happy to keep supplying some Granola Brown to you all.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I was finishing, like, getting towards the end of my beer, and there's a hog in the bottom of my glass. And that is, what a great thing to find.
Yeah. No, we got the...
it's like very subtle. I was like, what is that? I was like, is there hair in my beer? And I was like, oh my God, it's a hog.
Yeah, and then we got the new glasses in with the laser etching on the bottom. So
this is an awesome
It has
glass.
like nucleation sites, so it kind of keeps the aroma coming up the whole time while you're drinking
What would be the name of this? Every beer glass has a different name, but it has like a nonic pint type of feel to it. I know that term only because it's on the back of like every Goose Island beer I've ever drank. It says, please enjoy an anonic pint.
Yeah.
Does this have a name to it, or is it just a hog glass?
No, there is a name for it. I don't know. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like Nonic pint would have like the bubble.
Yeah.
Nonic pint's officially a 20-ounce glass, and the bubble, that little bubble edge, is a lot closer to the lip and a lot thinner. This one kind of has a little bit of like the bulb. Kind of like what almost like a tulip glass would be, but instead of having like the skinny foot, it has like a sturdy base to it. So, and it was basically we looked at a bunch of glasses, and I really like this one because it has all the characteristics to present the beer correctly, with the bubble to trap the aromatics, the curved lip to kind of hit your front tongue first, so you get any sweetness, and then it kind of goes over the etching on the inside to make sure the aromatics still coming in there.
It's got a good,
but
a good holding.
it still feels like a pint.
Yeah.
You're not like a dainty little Rastal glass or something. You don't feel like you're drinking wine. You're still like, hey, I'm drinking a beer, but the glass itself is shaped in the way where it makes the beer taste better while you're drinking it.
It's a hog holder.
It's a hog holder.
The Nonic hog.
The Nonic hog holder.
That's the great thing is like anything sounds good with hog. It's just the Nonic hog hut, the hog holder. Actually, we could make koozies for the cans and call them hog holders.
That'd be a good one.
You need a marketing team?
You guys are killing it. Do you work for beer? You work for beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's do it. That's fine. Because I usually work for money that goes to beer, so we're just cutting out the middleman here.
Keep the banks out of it.
Can we live here? Is that okay? Is it?
Yeah, you gotta live in your hog huts.
That's perfect. I got a sleeping bag in the car.
Get tension rods with curtains. Like, sorry, the tap room's closed. We're sleeping. So, you mentioned you're a local guy, so assuming Boston fan.
Mm-hmm.
Gross. If you go back and listen to some of our archive shows, the majority of our cast is not Boston friendly.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, it provides some lively debate, perhaps.
Yes.
Well, I think Boston has really become really Tom Brady's done it. It's been Tom Brady's doing, but I feel like Boston has kind of become one of those cities like you either love the teams or you just hate them with a burning passion. I only just like one Boston team, and it's the Bruins. But so, what sports do you follow?
I mean, like, just a quick caveat. I mean, the Boston teams, like, the Red Sox were shitty forever, and like they won, and like.
Like 100-something years. Shitty.
Yeah. And then, like, they had the Moneyball thing going on there actually when they won the World Series and all that. But it's just like, I felt like as a New Hampshire native, like 14th generation, like born and raised, like, following like the Boston scene, like me and all of my friends always just look at like the Yankees and be like, oh, they just bought all the best players. That's why they keep winning. And it was all like, hey, Wall Street, change some money. We'll trade this guy. This guy sucks now. I'm going to pay more money for this guy. And just like, hey, we won the World Series again. And it was just like, it wasn't scrappy. It wasn't like actually playing the game. You're just like, hey, we'll just like from every farm league buy the best person possible and then put them on the, so it's just like, that's just like it kind of, I don't know, the Boston's more like nitty gritty, like, Irish or like, back
through the system kind of guy.
System, you start out in the farm leagues, you work your way up and become a star. You don't just get bought and move to New York and then win a World Series and have to shave your beard, which is always stupid. That's the worst thing, having to shave your beard.
I feel like we're talking about a specific player.
Johnny Damon.
Oh, yeah, he's all right. But just like, so that's just like, as a caveat, that's kind of like us Bostonian fans always looked at the New York as like, and across the board, it's just like, hey, they just have a dick ton of money and they just buy the best players. And it's just kind of what it comes down.
It's funny you say that because, so like, I'm not a Bruins fan, but that's only because I'm from Chicago, so I'm a Chicago fan for everything. So as a Chicago fan, I get a lot of shit from Bruins fans because the Blackhawks beat them in the Stanley Cup. It's like big fucking whoops. So you're gonna hate everybody that beats you. Like then you hate everybody. But we have Kendall over here, the Red Baron. He's a loather of the Patriots because they destroyed the Steelers, his favorite team, in like AFC Championship games forever.
3 times.
Yeah, he hates the Celtics.
Heartbreaking being in 6th grade watching your team lose.
He hates the Celtics. He hates the Bruins mostly because it's Zdeno Chara.
Why do you hate the Celtics?
I don't know.
I think you just kind of rode the hating of the Boston thing. But I think you don't really hate the Red Sox, though. I don't feel.
No, in fact, I actually, during the time like 2004 and all that, it was kind of the underdog story, because the Yankees had dominated for so long and the Red Sox suffered for so long that it was exciting.
The Bills
you're a
effect.
Mets fan.
The Buffalo Bills effect.
Yeah, exactly. The Bills
Rooting for the Bills because the Patriots always win.
Yeah, the Bills are 201 to win. Sorry, don't worry about it.
But now I'm almost indifferent to the Red Sox. I have no gripe either way, So
It's funny because growing up, I hated the Red Sox because I grew up a Yankees fan. But now, like, I look at the game more as a whole. So, like, I don't like the Red Sox because I'm a Yankees fan. But there's a lot of players on the Red Sox that I like. So I'm, like, caught in the middle. But go Yankees.
And you're a Bruins/Rangers fan, which is great for the hockey community.
Yeah. See, I was a Bruins fan because I liked 2 of the players, and they traded both of them. So that kind of went away.
Now you're out.
But, but for me, it's interesting because our view, while it does have its own bias effects in it in terms of teams beating, our favorite teams or whatever, like the Steelers and the Patriots for the Red Baron here, but we're kind of in the weird spot of Boston fans because it's, especially in Wallingford, it's a lot of Boston and a lot of New York.
Yeah.
But in New Hampshire, it'd be interesting to go to New Hampshire, to be in New Hampshire for something like this, because up there it's true Boston fans. Like there's there's nobody up there like it's not oh, we hate the Yankees and this and that because on top of hating the Yankees division rivals, your next door neighbor's a diehard Yankees fan, and they beat you forever. But like Boston and up, it'd be in a more interesting.
It's a more like Boston environment than where we are.
It'd be like
We're
being
split.
in New York City or being in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Never really thought of it that way. Maine though. They don't.
Well, Maine has the Portland,
Hockey, everything.
The Portland Sea Dogs, which is the feeder program for the the Red Sox. So yeah, there's still Red Sox fans up there too.
Maine is just Canada. That's all.
Maine
It's just
is Canada.
hockey everything.
Let's just sell them.
It's just I don't know how Maine doesn't have an NHL.
You
team.
give us Newfoundland, we'll give you Maine.
Newfoundland.
Well,
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland sounds
You're
more
lucky we
fun
don't have
than
our
Newfoundland.
private
I
stock
know.
here because you'd be
was
be
just gonna say
slamming
that.
it.
All right, let's relax.
Newfoundland. That sounds like an amusement
We'll
park.
trade them and then we'll make Newfoundland.
Okay, that's fair.
McDonald's play places everywhere.
So clearly a Red Sox fan.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite player from your generation of watching baseball?
My generation, man.
So like 24 years. You're only 24. I made that number right now.
Made that out right now. I mean, it would be
Johnny Damon.
no. I mean, man, that's a tough one. You go way back to like Wade Boggs because I remember growing up like my grandfather gave me my first taste of beers like Milwaukee Best out of his big, tall.
This
Pilsner
guy's an
glass.
advocate of the best.
But drank the foam off the top of it. But like he was an avid Red Sox fan, and like I remember him just sitting. He'd like every game he'd be in his chair watching front to back every game, and he had a signed Wade Boggs like 8x10 black and white that he gave me.
That's cool.
So it was like I'd have to go way back there. Would probably be my favorite player. Of all
Is Wade
time.
Boggs the guy that claimed
Drank
to have
a lot of beers.
160 beers or something, and then went out and played the
Yeah,
next
he
game?
crushes.
Yeah, and he did part of that, I guess, on a flight.
It's funny. The
Do we
brewer,
believe this?
The brewer likes Wade Boggs.
Yeah. Do we believe this? Do you believe he drank? What was the number? Do you know off the top of your head?
I want to say
I think it was 72.
I want to say it was around that 72.
You think he drank 72 beers and then played the next day?
And
Sure.
hit a home run.
Sure, you could
That's
do
a
that.
lot of beer.
Well, I mean, he was.
I'm not even concerned about the alcohol content. I'm concerned about just fullness.
No, his beers were, they were probably like, lower ABV,
Yeah.
like macro lagers. Yeah, you could drink 72 macro lagers in a day, all day.
So here, someone is saying, I don't know, we may have to open up this page. He says 100 beers, that's too flat of a number. It's got to be.
I know on the
I mean, if you get to 100, you just keep going. See how
the
far-
episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think it was 72 when they tried to.
I feel like it's got to be a
Wade Boggs.
denomination of a popular like amount, like 12 or 30. Like it's got it's not gonna be like
I can't believe there's that much beer on the airplane.
well, he's Wade Boggs. That's what he wants.
They set it up. They set it up for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was like, oh, hey, I'm just flying from Albuquerque to
So
Sacramento. Give me 100 beers. It's hey, I'm Wade Boggs. I'm gonna do what I want, and you're gonna let it happen.
So here's what we got. It's 64 beers on the flight from Boston to LA, but 100 beers in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
So that's the legend of this.
That's like even more amazing because you know how drunk you'd get on a plane, high altitude. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Good for this guy.
I was looking last night because me and my brother were talking. There was another rumor that Andre the Giant once drank like 124 beers.
That's
in a
different
sitting.
though. He's huge.
Have you seen a
That's still-
12-ounce can in his hand? It's like it looks so small.
That's like you holding like an ant.
There were stories that he would take 2 liters of vodka just to feel a little warm.
Well, the guy was, but look how big he was. It was a pulse side of 7, and what he had to be almost 500 pounds, if not more. He was a giant,
He was a big
literally,
guy.
literally,
He was a big
literally
guy.
a giant. So, what other sports do you follow besides baseball?
I used to follow basketball a lot when I was younger. I've kind of just ever since having kids and not the money for the full cable package to watch everything.
Nickelodeon's pretty expensive.
No, we just do the free streaming stuff but yeah, so it's just like I haven't been able to just find the time. But I mean, the Celtics definitely growing up watched
So Bird,
the Bird. Hell yeah,
yeah.
Bird Parrish combo was awesome.
Was Kevin McHale part of those teams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you expect me to know that?
Yeah, I
Kevin
do.
McHale, yeah. But then I mean, Paul Pierce, and when after that was kind of like I watched a little bit of that, but it was just kind of like he was, he worked so hard and really only didn't win much, But yeah,
It took making a super team.
yeah, exactly. So he worked for many years before anything happened with him. But yeah, it was. I mean, when I was in high school, middle school to high school, basketball was my jam, and followed it, and right in the heyday of Jordan and all that, and
Did you play sports growing up?
Yeah, I dabbled in pretty much everything. I was a really great JV All-Star. I did my only 4-year letter is golf. I love golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was because
I love golf, but not that good at it.
Yeah, I'm really bad at it.
I can hit the ball pretty far, but I also hit it very left. So,
so are you righty or lefty? So you're slicing or hooking?
I'm going to go ahead and say slicing.
So you're a lefty coming at it from the.
I'm
side?
hooking.
Yes, you're hooking. Good. So you want to just take your top hand, roll it over a little bit, kind of show more of your palm as you're coming through. That'll fix your little left.
Or drink more beer.
Or drink more beer.
So I'm thinking we buy beer from here, growlers, and go to the driving range.
Yeah, for sure.
Now.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. Let's do it.
No, it's so cold outside.
Yeah, it'll warm me up. The beer will warm me up. What are you saying? You saying you're not down to have a good time?
I'll do it, but it's cold.
We're taking Tyler with us.
Yeah.
He's coming with us.
I do have to do a tour at 1 o'clock, so we'll make it back. in
Rebecca,
time. Make it back in
Rebecca,
time.
will you
We'll
do the
make it
tour? No, we don't have to be on the call. All right, Rebecca will do the tour. This is a tank.
That's all metal.
This is where the beer bathes. That'd be a good one. Beer bathes in the
bathes.
tank. Yeah. So, what's in the future for Black Hog? What's coming up for 2018? I know you mentioned the lager.
Yeah,
the
hog
lager.
Hog lager is a big one.
Oh,
kinda.
it's so good.
I'm so excited
the
for that.
hog thing is awesome.
Yeah, adding another beer to the year-round availabilities is going to be an interesting challenge just on the brew schedule side, because it's just it's a lager, so it takes longer, and if it takes off, it's just going to be making sure to have enough of it in fermentation, to supply it. But it's going to be fun. I'm excited about that one. And then the bunch of different Disco Pig stuff coming out this year, which is going to be awesome, which is kind of, and I'm really, I opened up some of the, we have these little PCM 7-barrel tanks, which are kind of half batch, so you can do a half batch in our fermenters, and opened that up to kind of assistant brewers and stuff like that to start writing up some recipes. So there'll be some really cool, brewery only, draft and growler fills for the tasting room coming up this year, which I'm excited to see what the guys come up with, because that's as a brewer, you always have beer ideas, and not that I'm out of them, but it's just fun to let other people get their ideas out in liquid, because it's an art, and let them have some
It
fun
can
with
inspire.
it. Yeah.
Are tap room laws similar to bar laws, where you have to be 21 to be in the tap room?
Yeah. No, you can. We allow kids to come in. You can't just let them run around wild. They can be supervised. But
Well, I meant more like if I were to bring my 18-year-old brother and have him just be my designated driver.
Oh, that's cool. As long as he's not
This is the
drinking
problem
beer.
for me with breweries. I don't want to be responsible when I go, but neither does anybody else I hang out with, i.e. these assholes.
Yes.
So, no, because Rebecca wants to have fun, and she's a lightweight, so it's one beer for Rebecca, and she can't drive anymore. So we need to find a friend that was an alcoholic and is now in remission and can't drink anymore. As terrible as that sounds to put him around the
remission kind of sounds like cancer.
Yeah,
it's like, it's called recovery.
When we were younger,
rehabilitation.
when we were still underage, our friend Vito didn't drink yet, so he was our driver all the time, and it was super convenient. Then he started drinking, and that went downhill.
I think the real problem is we all need to save up our money, and we need to just get someone in the group of house. No, someone in the group of house, and we just got to make like a 42 tap system in the basement. But like growler taps, so we don't have to worry about the beer going stale.
It'll get finished.
I was gonna say, Kendall won't let beer go bad.
As long as he's got a bathroom nearby, he's good.
I'm like the beer czar.
The beers are.
No, we have. I mean, that's kind of like the idea behind like someone like the whole beer tour bus people that do that.
Yeah.
They set up these beer tours and they drive a bus around. And you stop at 3 breweries throughout the day, and then they drop you back off your car at the end of it. You know, like it's kind of that's your whole idea. Like right there, the people are doing that now. There's a couple of them, and definitely there's 3 or 4 of them up north, and there's the Connecticut beer brew bus doing it down here now too.
I know how it would go for us if the 3 of us were to do it, though. I'd be very hyper on the bus ride. Kendall would be agitated. He's not currently drinking, and he'd be sleeping.
Asleep.
Yeah. Maxine Washable would be asleep. Anytime there isn't a beer to be had, he'd just be sleeping.
Notorious for that.
Yeah. He fell asleep at the Wooden Tap Bar one day.
And the diner.
Yeah. He's just... So, not to... You know, we talked about the more family aspect versus competition. So, outside of Black Hog, who would you say is your favorite local Connecticut brewery?
I mean, it's hard. I don't, again, 2 kids, I don't get out too much, but I mean, if I stop in, again, it's similar to which is my favorite beer, because I like different breweries for different reasons. But I mean, like Counterweight's makes some really great beer. I mean, he's great brewer. He just kind of, he's known for his IPAs, but if you drink like his Pilsner, it's just sublime. He makes a really great grisette.
I haven't been down there.
Yeah,
and
it's a cool place.
I'm pretty sure the only beer he's still distributing is the Headway, right?
Yeah, and it's just like that's.
I've had the Oktoberfest from them, which is pretty good.
That was a good one too. Yeah.
Have you guys made an Oktoberfest?
We haven't made one. I was thinking about making one this year, but it just
do it in March.
The man of many names. We'll have to bring him down here. He's a
Yeah.
big Oktoberfest fiend.
Yeah.
That and just any other gross domestic brew.
Weird thing.
He's not really apt into the beer world.
Yeah.
He doesn't really grasp the concept of good flavors.
Yeah.
We'll try
He
it.
would just
We'll
drink
try
this and be like, ugh, it's dark. I don't like it.
Dark. It tastes like darkness.
Yeah.
No.
It tastes like my future.
But I mean, like Stony Creek right now. I mean, their location's gorgeous, and they're introducing, because of their location in the state for one, but how beautiful their location is. They're introducing craft beer to a lot of people who've never tried craft beer.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, and we need people
Well,
that haven't drank craft beer to try craft beer and get
name
into
another
it, you know?
brewery where you can park your boat and then go start drinking
Oh, yeah,
beer.
it's fancy. It's very fancy, yes. But it's I mean, Andy Schwartz, the head brewer there, is a good buddy of mine from up north, and he's one of the more like beautiful, consistent brewer and making very, very consistently very drinkable beers. So, and I mean, like then you get like the Kent Falls stuff. It's really cool how they're doing like something different and unique all the time. And I mean, just I've gotten a handfuls of the beard stuff, and I mean, for like the hopheads out there, he's definitely making some fun stuff. And I mean, it's just kind of trying to branch out and try them all. Really, it's like I forget who was Charlie Papazian, who's the head of the the Homebrewers Association, which in turn became the Brewers Association. He was like, his answer to that, he's like, you travel around the country, like what beer are you drinking? He's like, whatever's local. It is just like you got to try something like even now add hyper local to that, but like drink something like that's in your backyard, see what it's about, and see what like your water chemistry within your area can produce for beers. And I mean, one of the big reasons Granola Brown tastes good here is because of our water chemistry. Like if we made it somewhere else, it wouldn't taste the same. And it's kind of like where like I think our water is more suited to darker beers, and the IPAs, don't get me wrong, they're delicious, but like we don't have IPA water, you know. So it's
amazing. We're learning so many things.
Yeah,
I didn't realize there was an IPA water versus like I mean I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
content of the water type of deal,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
well, we're about out of time. It was great being here. Make sure to come visit Black Hog Brewery.
Yeah, come down.
Again, they're located in Oxford, Connecticut, 115 Hurley Road, Building 9A. So we learned today that when you come in, Make sure you drive all the way down to the end. That's where they are.
The GPS gets a little spotty.
Yeah, so the GPS, for whatever reason, I don't know if I'm sure you've been made aware of this problem. It puts you on a different road because it's technically closer. So look for Hurley Road.
Yeah. No, it's
off 84.
Yeah, we actually tried to move the Google pin multiple times, but the easiest way, if you coming off of 84, you turn up the airport access road towards the Oxford Airport, which if you've never heard of the Oxford Airport, it's a nice little puddle jumper airport here.
Didn't hear about it till today.
So, but if you drive up the airport access road and take your first right, it'll bury you right in the woods, and it'll be much easier to get to you from there than getting a dead end into a wooden trail that they tell you to get out and walk. So we've tried to move the pin. Swear to God.
You'll have to correct me, Tyler, if these hours are wrong. I'm going off of Google right now. But tasting room hours, they're closed Monday, Tuesday.
True.
Open 4 to 8 Wednesday and Thursday, 2 to 8 on Friday, 1 to 8 on Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sundays. Our social media expert, Machine Wash, will post all this information along with the show when it's set to air. Beer reviews? Tyler, do you want to do a beer review?
My beer is amazing.
Good.
Try it.
Yeah,
what do you want to review? I'll review anything.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, Mark and I, we both had the IPA?
Yeah, you had the Easy Rider and he had the Hog Water. Yep.
Pay attention.
So, I've had the Hog Water before on another show, so I've never had the Easy Rider, and was a huge fan.
How many of those you see yourself drinking in an hour?
Infinite.
Infinite. I like that.
Infinite.
Wade Boggs amounts.
Yes.
The Hog Water's great. He hit the nail on the head. A nice citrusy flavor. I liked it a lot.
I just can't articulate. That's my problem.
I know you can't.
Oh, sorry. Would you just do yours?
No, my curiosity would be what would you want to be eating while drinking those beers?
Pig.
Pig is good.
Do we have one?
Is there a pig here?
No, Kyle couldn't come. You can't say pig or hog or any variation of swine.
I've been brainwashed. I really want pig, pulled pork right now.
You could say hot dog. That's the only exception.
Or like a margarita pizza. Would a margarita pizza be?
It would. I could see myself eating margarita pizza.
Garlic note.
Shout out to the Nard dog on The Office, the margarita pizza. So we were talking about this, Tyler and I, before the show. This intrigued me a lot. I've never seen a fruit milk stout before, and this was fantastic. Very subtle on the peach. I got a lot of it in the aftertaste, but very I don't want to say thin in a negative sense, but it was thinner. It was easier to drink. I could see myself having more than 2, 3, or 4 of these. I could see myself having 400 of these. But it was really good. A lot of good flavor. It really stuck with you every sip until the next sip. The flavors were there, and I was a big fan. I love peach. Peach is my favorite thing in the world for fruit flavors. Oh.
It's the thing different with that beer specifically using the actual fruit. I mean, it was from Drazen Orchards. We got a bunch of peach seconds and cooked them down and put them in there and putting them in the barrel and letting kind of the secondary fermentation happen consumes kind of the fructose sugars, leaving behind just the essence of the peach, and that's where you're getting that post nasal after the swallow, what kind of hangs out. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I hate fruit beer." And I was like, "Well, what?" They're talking about some macro brewer that's dumping in fruit extract and it tastes like cough syrup. I hate those beers too. But this is actually made with fruit and it's used the right way. And I'm not
usually a fruit beer fan because more times than not, every time I've ever had one, it's too fruit forward. It's
way too sweet.
But this is very good. It's very subtle. I think you'd like it. You're not a big stout guy, but I think
would
you'd
try
like
it.
Well, there's none left. You should make a peach cobbler reduction with this. I would eat that.
Every time you say peach, I hear that song from the 90s.
Oh,
the Peaches song.
Yeah, the Peaches song.
President of the United States, right?
That's it.
I'm trying to think what I'd want to pair this with. And for some reason in my head, and I don't know why, all I can think about when I was drinking this, I was thinking about having macaroni and cheese.
Really?
I don't know why.
That's crazy.
I knew he was going to say that. I don't know why.
Cheddar, creamy. I mean, we talking sharp cheddar?
No, mild macaroni and cheese. Nothing crazy.
Right out of the box.
I mean, if you were to make a homemade, maybe a Colby Jack.
Okay.
Something on the more mild side. I don't know why. The whole time. I couldn't tell you why.
Now I want to drink that with some macaroni and cheese.
You got to try it.
I got to try it now.
Also, you know what else I think would be really good with pancakes?
Oh, yeah. That's pancake.
Especially because I'm not a syrup guy, so I don't feel like the maple syrup would conflict with the... I don't really put a lot of syrup, if any, on my pancakes. Usually just a plain pancake guy, Satan. I get a lot of looks in the diner when they're like, "Oh, do you want maple syrup?" No.
Awesome.
Social media?
Yes.
No, I don't want to know. They know where they can find us. You'll tell them later. Where can we find you?
Find me. blackhogbrewing.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Black Hog Beer, all of those.
Do you want to give your home address so they can send you fan mail?
Yeah. Sure. Send it. You can send it to the brewery. I can get address.
I'll get it. Don't worry.
Get it here. Don't worry. It'll get delivered. But yeah, so just we try to keep on top of the social media best we can, and we do have a mailing list here too. So you do come visit, sign up. You'll get a first heads up of like stuff going on in the brewery, and get it right in your inbox. So
that's awesome. Where can they find us, Maksheen?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Getting Sports with Drunk, and Twitter is GSWD_4.
Make sure to use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily uses, whether it's shagging up in a hog hut or enjoying a nice beer pairing.
And subscribe on Podbean and iTunes, and we're on the Lieb Sports Network every day from 7 to 8 a.m. and every Sunday from 12 to 1 on the PPRN radio network.
Be very exciting. We hope you'll like the show. I'm glad Hog Hut was worked into this. I'm also glad I got to use the word shag in a show. I don't think I've done that before. It just came to me. But we'll definitely be back here again. I wish our producer wasn't an ass face and was able to get us those tickets. You need to be more on top of stuff, okay?
Next year, we'll
Fired.
be the first one to own tickets.
The first one.
The very first one.
He's going to be here tomorrow. I hope you know that.
Yes.
He's going to be here tomorrow. Be like,
buy them next year's tickets already.
Can I have them now?
Well, from all of us here at Getting Sports with Drunk and Black Hog Brewery, I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler.
Tyler Jones.
I'm Mock.
And I'm the Red Baron.
Meow.